John. John is last on stage. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, maybe before we officially start, let me say as well that you see that the session is being recorded. This is just for internal purpose, but we will try to make the whole session available as well. And I wish to say as well that there is simultaneous interpretation in French and English for those who wish to follow it. So, Excellencies, members of the International Geoscience Program Council, President of the International Union for Geological Sciences, John Ludden. John, if you want, you can be up on stage. If you, yeah, sure, you can sit here. They are preparing your name tag. It's coming in a second. President of the Global Geoparks Network, Nicolas Zauros, who will be connected with us later. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, it's an honor and a pleasure to welcome you here. I know that there's several other meetings happening right now simultaneously, so shortly before the executive board, but we are still very happy to meet you here and to have this opportunity to exchange with you on the 9th open session of the International Geoscience Council. I wish to apologize my ADG and my director. They are traveling right now. They're on a mission, but with my team and with the members of the council, we are happy to host you here and to bring you and to represent the program. I will explain and introduce later my team members as well, but I would like to thank them already for making this happening and for supporting us through the session today. The members of the International Geoscience Council, they started their work actually this Sunday, exactly to make sure that we are ready before the executive board. So for the last 2.5 days, we've been working through the different projects and programs, and you will hear from them the different projects that we have assessed. They will provide as well a little bit more of an in-depth presentation of some of them that are a little bit more representative. And they will also give you a glimpse of how they see the future as well of this International Geoscience Program. And we have foreseen sufficient time as well in order to get in an interactive dialogue with you, just to have a little bit of a reflection together about the future of this program. Let me maybe emphasize that this is what you're going to see and hear today. It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of work going on behind the screens. The C in the program, in the International Geoscience Program, IGCP, the C really stands for cooperation, and is exactly what the project is about. So there's a lot of people working on this. A lot of project leaders are working with their teams on making this happening, but there is also the science board. There's 62 people from the science board from different earth science related disciplines that are actually assessing all of these projects before they are submitted to the council for their review. And I wish to thank them here through this way for their tremendous work. It's quite an involvement. It's quite an engagement that we ask from them, and it allows us actually to keep up the reputation. It allows us to keep up the standard of this program, and it allows us as well to connect to at least more than several thousands of earth scientists if we calculate it at any moment. Let me thank here as well, in particular, our partners since the very early days, since 1972. We have been working together at the creation of the IGCP. We've been working together with the International Union for Geological Sciences, IUGS, one of the largest science organizations in the world. I assume most of you are familiar with it, and we're very happy to have Dr. Ludden here with us today, who will explain as well from his perspective the way we work together and the areas that we can possibly explore further in the future. Now, we will have a coffee break at 3:30. I hope we can stick to that timing. And after that, we will move towards the other pillar of the program, the Geoparks. We do this just to emphasize as well the interaction between the two programs, but it's an opportunity for us to go a little bit more in depth in what we're doing in that science-related part of the program, or sites-related part of the program, I should say. Next week, member states will have the opportunity to adopt new geoparks. That's rarely an opportunity to go in depth in the program. I mean, it's adopted sometimes even before we can sit down, which means that it's probably a lot of work has happened before that. But we welcome an opportunity to go a little bit more in depth in the work that we're doing together and the work that we could possibly do together. So you're going to hear from us a little bit the achievements, but also a little bit more of the challenges that we're facing and how we can work on this together. So there will be sufficient time for an interactive dialogue and interactive discussion, and I hope that leads us to a more mature program. Let me mention here as well that after this session, we would like to invite you up on the 7th floor for a cocktail, just to have a little bit more of an informal chat to talk through the things that we've heard and discussed today. Last year, we had invited the French Geoparks here. We are very happy now that we could welcome a Belgian Geopark and a Luxembourg Geopark. They came with some local goodies, some local products. So it makes it all a little bit more tangible, and I invite you to go and see them later at the cocktail as well, and to hear from them. With this, Excellencies, I would like to give now the floor to John Levin of the IUGS for his opening statement. Thank you very much, John. If you want, you can come.
Yeah, I'll stand up.
Yeah.
I can wave my arms. Sure. Thanks, Christophe, and Your Excellencies and colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here. So yeah, I'm president of the International Union of Geological Sciences, and we have existed since about 1960. But our International Geological Congress has existed since about the 1880s, so for a long time. It's essentially the global voice of geoscientists, and our focus really at the moment is to represent the global South in that sense. In the global North seems to be able to look after itself fairly well, and I think where we think we can make a difference is working with the developing world. But the International Geoscience Program is a program that was used to be called the International Geological Correlation Program, that was invented by UNESCO and IUGS 50 years ago. And last year we had our 50th anniversary here, so it's actually 52 years now, I think. And it was kind of thought of at the time when geology as we know it was starting to emerge, in terms of the need to kind of correlate between continents, the need to understand plate tectonics and all that sort of classical geology. And that was in the 1970s, 80s, 60s. And although the program doesn't produce lots of money, it supports small projects, but it acts as seed money. And you can actually look back in time and identify programs where IGCP put a little bit of funding in, and then the science changed after that. One good example I can think of, I used to work in Canada, is early work in what they call ophiolites. So that's pieces of ocean crust that are abducted onto the continents, and that really helped us rethink the way that the ocean crust formed and such like. Now, those were the good old halcyon days of geology, when we looked at rocks and hit them with hammers and things like that. And I think we're now at a turning point where geology is, to an extent, is under question. If you want, people in university programs, people are looking at geology and saying, "Why do I want to do that? I don't want to go out and find more oil and gas and minerals." It's so if you look around the world, and in Africa in particular, there's been a review recently. You can see that the numbers of students enrolled in geoscience programs is diminishing rapidly, and the students tend to be enrolling more into geography programs, and so there is a challenge. So if we want to do things like make an energy transition, find new strategic metals, understand underground resources in general, looking at hydrogeology, if you want to do all that, that's essentially the domain of geology, geophysics, and geochemistry. So we have to find a way of keeping that discipline alive while trying to reinvent what the deliverables are, where the deliverables are all in terms of energy transitions and understanding the earth and such like. So we enjoy working with UNESCO. They've recently, with OSLEM, this program has been reorientated, and you'll see that to try and address some of the sustainability goals, and we will continue to support it. But as the chairman will outline later, we're trying to rethink how the program can really make an impact, as opposed to being many small raindrops. Can we make a few big raindrops that really make a difference? So that's where we're going at the moment. So have a good meeting, and thanks very much indeed for inviting me. Thanks for being here, and I hope you learn a little bit this afternoon. Who's up next?
It's me.
Oh, that wasn't it.
And I think it's my turn from now. Good afternoon and good morning for the colleagues. I think we have high number of online participation as well. So I'll try to speak slowly because we have online translation as well in English and French. Again, for the participants, we have availability in English and in French, our presentations. So I'm Özlem Adıyaman Lopez. I work for UNESCO Geosciences and Geoparks team now for 8 years. I think this is my 8th session I'm organizing, so I'm quite proud to be doing this session for 8 years. And I will explain you what we have been doing as UNESCO Secretariat last year. So I will only focus on our activities supporting council and project leaders. And then I will let the council members to explain you the projects. So today's event will be in 3 parts. So as I said, I will explain our activities, and our chairperson, Professor Jonathan Craig, will explain what we have been doing. They've been doing last 3 days, and also in the 3rd part, our council members will explain you International Geoscience Program projects and their achievements and their results from last year. So it's a small recap. As Christoph explained, our program has 2 pillars. So in the morning session, we will focus on the IGCP, which is perfectly explained by Professor John Ladden. So we've been working with the geoscientific community for 50 years, and I am personally emotionally moved. We have some previous contributors and experts of the program here. We have geologists in this room who participated in that program from Austria, from France for several years. So it's again really nice to have you. Welcome. I don't want to refer the names. And the second part, we will focus on the Geoparks related activities we've been doing several years. And we will really focus on how we can accelerate this process, because we have a high request and we have still countries who don't have UNESCO Global Geoparks. So in the afternoon later session, we will discuss with you how we can accelerate that process. So we have 5 teams and we have 6 special teams, which will be explained by Jonathan. So last year, our projects focused on these thematics, which are earth resources, global change, geohazards, hydrogeology, and geodynamics. Again, I will let council members to detail them. And they're here, and Christoph thanked them, but I would like to also thank them, and it's a huge effort. So I think it's really not visible. We have very high number of projects, and they are doing excellent work. And I know most of project leaders, actually, they are connected, and this work done by the council members totally freely and totally voluntary. So we cannot thank them enough, I think. And unfortunately, 4 of experts sitting here, they stayed last time. So, and it's my last opportunity to work with them. So in International Geoscience and Geoparks Council, half of the members should be renewed every 2 years. So this is the end of their term. So this year we will launch a new call for applications. So if our member states would like to nominate experts from their countries to replace these experts, they are welcome. And we would like to really thank them for their work last 4 years. And also they started during COVID time. So I remember our first council meeting was supposed to be here on 13th of March when the France declared the official lockdown. So we had to reschedule everything in last minute. So we went through very difficult times, but we made it. And then Christoph mentioned briefly, I think Jonathan also will touch on, these are our scientific board members. So how it works is we have projects and we work with them all year, and at the end of each year, they submit us their annual report. So this year we received 43 project reports, and my dearest colleague Uni Lee here, she joined us this year and she helped me for the first time for the evaluations. And she sent all our projects to the scientific board members by theme and their expertise. So every project is evaluated by at least 2-3 experts to understand their achievements and their impacts. And then these reviews come to us and they go to council members and they do another review. So it is a considerable peer review. So the projects approved by UNESCO and funded by IUGS and UNESCO in collaboration, these projects have a strong peer review, which contributes what John explained. Actually, they are highly contributing to scientific community and with their scientific expertise. Some of them are really societal projects, but their peer review recognition helped them in their countries, in the national, international environments to obtain financial support, I think, which will be explained by some of national committee members who are here. So these members, some of them are connected, they're totally invisible, but they are in line with us. I never met them in person, so they are helping us with the reviews and we are really thankful for them. And these are numbers from last year. So we are really proud of what we are doing and what these projects are doing. We will explain later the project statistics, but last year we had 116 countries collaborating with IGCP projects. So every project is led more than 3, 4, 5 leaders from different countries. So between our 195 member states, 116 countries were part of it. They had trainings, they had lectures, they had field trips, financed by UNESCO or project leaders, and we trained over 3,000 people. It could be online, could be face-to-face. And as you can see, our priority is developing world countries. More than half of the participants who received funding for our trainings are from developing world. Female, we are hoping to increase, and we are quite proud, 38% of our participants are female, but we still didn't get 50-50. I think we will get there more one day. And we deal with more than 130 capacity building activities. So we have a list of our projects, our supported three projects led by nearly 300 leaders in many different countries they delivered. So if you can see with 43 projects funded by UNESCO, we've been able to reach more than 3,000 people in more than 100 countries. I think for the budget, which I will explain later, it's a quite big impact. And along with this management of these projects at the Secretariat, we also contribute with our capacity as much as we can, capacity building and training activities globally to improve geoscience education, to improve geoscience research, and to improve geoscience outreach. And we explained this book last year during our 50th anniversary meeting. We have some examples available outside, and we are really proud of this small book, but really focusing what John said, what I think Jonathan will explain later. We need geoscientists, and the future needs geoscientists. And this book perfectly explains how geoscientific themes, topics, tackles, addresses sustainable development goals, 17 of them, and UN 2030 agenda. So this book has two objectives. One is some geologists, including myself, I think in my previous life, we don't know how to communicate what we do to the local people, local communities, non-scientists. So when we go to EGU, Geological Union meetings, we understand each other because we speak a very complicated language. But bringing that language for me 8 years ago to you was a difficult topic. And in that book, we explain how we address UN 2030 agenda and how we can even do this better. So please get it. And it's really important. One of the objectives we have is to motivate young generation, and they can see, if they study geology, how they can help to save our planet, because that's what the young generation want. And we also provide financial and technical support to existing courses. So globally, there are several hundreds, thousands of summer courses, short courses. So between these courses, when they approach us and our scientific board members evaluate the objective and the results of these potential courses, we send participants to this course. So this is a yearly course organized by an association with whom we work for more than 15 years now. And we selected African early career scientists to join this course in Johannesburg last year. And they met global experts. So in this picture, you see big names from Africa in earth resources, mineral resources, and mining research topics. So they've been focusing on how mineral extraction, mineral exploration could be connected with the energy transition and future development. So these students received financial support from UNESCO's funding. And we also participated last year Colloquium of African Geology. So this is biggest geological congress in Africa, bringing African geoscientific community, organized every 2 years. And last year it was organized by Namibia. And what we did is we brought more than 20 participants to pre-conference course where we provided them geoheritage training. So we will focus on this later because we try to connect two pillars of our program. So 3 days of training about geoheritage, how they can contribute to establishment of geoparks in Africa. And these young people participated in the Colloquium of African Geology, where they presented their papers and their abstracts. So we had two objectives: one, training them, and second, enabling them publishing papers and showing their work in the Colloquium of African Geology. And then one of the projects we led last year in collaboration with global experts is, as you know, UNESCO's #1 priority is Africa. But we've been working on several projects in Africa and we have considerable outcomes there. But we realized that last 10 years, we didn't ask African scientists what they want from us. So we've been working with the institution, academic organizations, but we didn't ask individual scientists what they want from us to bring them. So we launched a survey as part of International Geoscience Program, and that survey was hosted in collaboration with African Geoscience Institute, American Geoscience Institute, AGI, and in several languages. So we had 6 language access, trying to make it accessible. High number of questions, and we're really proud. We had more than 350 responses to that survey, what type of help they could consider useful for development, their personal development, their career development, and their researches. So we collected these survey results, and we are in the process of analyzing because we have lots of data. So for data analysis and publication, I think we can make several publications from this data. But before we go there, I would like to briefly. So these are, I would like to recognize them. We had a scientific committee analyzing and helping us to define the questions, because as you know, in any statistics surveys, it's very important they ask right questions to right people. So we worked experts from Africa and different institutions, and with their help, we prepared this questionnaire. And as I said, the results are really interesting. We will work, but I will just summarize mostly male scientists. So I think that's not a surprise, but we see that in Africa, we still need to make an improvement for the outreach and getting the female participation to high-level education and research in earth sciences. This is one of the positions we would like to target, the gender equality again in the continent. And the education level, so the participants had mostly applied geology, which is, I think, expected, also very useful. So we have fundamental research topics, but it's mostly applied geology areas. They've been focusing, they are solid earth sciences and addressing diverse expert. They have variety of expertise, specialization. But there's still, as you can see, potential collaboration opportunities for interdisciplinary collaboration. And it is also positive output that they are connecting with the international community. So they are part of the reviews, editorial boards. So the participants who answered our question, they are collaborating with the international publications and the reviews. But they can still enhance their collaboration between African and non-African geoscience institutions. So this is an area we would like to tackle, and we discussed yesterday with the council members. Again, this is the distribution of responses. In the questionnaire, we asked them where they are and where they are from, actually. We have high number of African scientists working and studying globally. So we have a high contribution from South Africa and Nigeria. So these were the peak areas. We saw really high participation, and then we had to reanalyze the data, excluding, because the responses were really high level. And we can see that South Africa and Nigeria have better access to scientific research, publication, and grant facilities. So this is an important collaboration opportunity for Africa. Again, we documented. So for the forge, I think we will talk later. We will establish this year, and we are hoping to get support from our member states to targeted, tailored responses of these activities as much as we can. And this is, I'm coming to the end of my slides. And this is another initiative we took last year as part of another IGCP project called 768 and 69 Energy Transition for Masters Training. So this is the IGCP projects, which is not receiving funding, but we are collaborating with global industry partners who would like to help academic institutions deliver free open access online courses for developing world scientists how to focus on energy transition. So industry has a deep knowledge about energy transition and they are getting there, but this we know that in some developing world countries it's not established yet. So this program is building online courses, which we will make in collaboration available. But as part of that, we also wanted to promote again geoscience education and geoscience outreach. And we launched a call for applications for Geoscience Ambassador of the Year. So it was our societal survey, and we had really high number of applications, 76 of them, all young people, very motivated geologists, and very into that. So it was very difficult to make this decision. And Gloria is here, one of our council members. We have experts who review them, and then we have winners. So we have 4 winners, and one of them also will be participating in the International Geological Congress in Busan as part of reward. And I would like to show you how this person, our winner, sees geoscience.
Hello, my name is Giselle Mancilla. I'm from Copiapó, a city in the south of the Atacama Desert. I studied geology and currently participating and lead different initiatives in geotourism and science communication. Over the years, I have traveled throughout the Atacama region doing geotourism, from the sea to the mountain, with the conviction that is one of the ways to generate the necessary changes that will allow us to develop in harmony with the planet in the face of the current climate crisis. Based on my experience, I have come to the conclusion that geoscience should be integrated into our daily lives in order to inspire people and communities to work for sustainable development. That is why I consider geoscience communication to be my greatest area of interest and keystone for my professional and personal growth.
Hello, I'm George Regoshola Kato, a geologist at the Africa Gera Geological Center in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. At the center, I teach on minerals, rocks, and geohazards to students, but also to people and societies through school seminars, through radio programs, and through television programs. So I also do field trips in geological sites and mine sites for students, so as they can learn opportunities in the mineral sector, but also learn on various geological processes affecting our environment.
Hi, I am Lydia Rabang, a geologist from the province of Palawan, Philippines. 2 disasters happened in my home province, a widespread flooding and super typhoon Rai. And that's when I realized the huge gap between the earth science knowledge in our university and earth science knowledge in our home province. September 2023, I entered the Palawan local government unit, hoping to have a wider platform for geoscience knowledge dissemination and to help with geoscience-based decision-making. My dream is for us Palawanos to have a landscape-scale consciousness so that we will know Palawan better, so we could better take care of it for generations to come.
My name is Hallelujah Kajo. I'm a PhD researcher with Hannah Craig at the University College Dublin. Outside my PhD work, I'm involved in geoscience communication initiatives where we communicate how geosciences contribute to society, as well as how geosciences contribute to the transition to the low-carbon technology in sustainable ways. I also run a Young Achievers Award, which is an award dedicated to my former primary school in Namibia to award the best girls achiever in mathematics and physics. This award serves as an encouragement to other girls to learn and appreciate science, as well as continue to take up STEM-related fields when they move to universities.
continents and different countries. So we will collaborate with them next year in 2024 as our ambassadors now in their regions, in their countries, to spread the virus of geosciences. They're really having it because these people, they do these activities and along with their day-to-day job. It's not their full-time job, and they do this as their pleasure. And we have Geoparks people around here that understand what we are talking. But I think this is really impressive progress they made. So my final slides is about our budget. So we've been doing all these activities. I think our member states are asking how this is obtained and where it comes. So International Geoscience Program budget is part of, we have a regular budget allocation around 60,000 to 70,000 per year. But as you can see, this could not be enough. We have considerable contribution from International Union of Geological Sciences, who is our partner organization. And we've been lucky to have considerable funding from Jeju Program Self-Developing Province in the Jeju Island of Republic of Korea since 2018. They are the biggest donor for several years we had, and we are extremely grateful for their contribution to the program, which increased our project numbers. And of course, we collaborate Global Geoparks Network, who subsidize our projects, and we have a considerable contribution from National Commission of Republic of China. And last year, we had also a contribution from Flanders for our training activities. And this was, again, I would like to sincerely thank JPDC for their $500,000 contribution to our geoscience and geoparks projects last 5 years, and we are really grateful for their contribution. And last year, we spent $265,000, around $267,000 for our 43 projects, which were explained. And again, you can see between 2015 and 2023, there is a nearly double of size. This was thanks to JPD's contribution to our program. This year, sadly, this collaboration will end, but we are hopeful to rediscuss with them next opportunities. And as of last 3 days, our council approved 2 new projects, and next year's project budget will be around $227,000. As we knew that our collaboration with our donor could terminate in 2022, we stopped launching call for proposals. So there was no new project accepted with funding last 2 years, with the objective of reducing project numbers and focusing differently, which will be explained by our council members. And this year, again, they will explain we will follow a different strategy to better calculate our budget and harmonize our projects. And all I said is available in our report, which is in our website, and UNESCO. Please distribute, share with your networks our annual report, which is available on our website. I think that's all from myself now. I will pass the floor to the chair of our council, who will explain our work last 3 days and how the things will go in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rosalind. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I will also try to speak slowly for the translation. My name is Jonathan Craig, and I have the privilege to be the current chair of the UNESCO IGCP Council. I'm a chartered geologist, and I have an industry career spanning some 40 years, working on major civil engineering, mining, and energy projects around the world. For the last 24 years, I have worked for the Italian energy company Eni, in a variety of technical and managerial roles, including being chief geoscientist and most recently as head of exploration strategies and professional areas. I retired from Eni in October last year, at which point I was appointed as Professor of Geoenergy at Durham University in the UK, where I now work on the sustainable development of new energy resources, including geothermal energy, carbon sequestration, energy storage, helium, natural hydrogen, and the critical minerals required for the energy transition. My role on the IGCP Council is to provide leadership and to bring a commercial and industrial perspective to the projects in the IGC program. But primarily it is to facilitate the important work of my colleagues in the IGCP Council and the members of the IGCP Scientific Board. We go. That one. Let's begin by looking at the results of the 9th Council closed session. The role of the IGBC Scientific Board is to evaluate the proposals submitted to UNESCO for inclusion in the programme and to evaluate their progress over their duration. The current Scientific Board has more than 60 members from 39 countries, many of whom are leading experts in their geoscience disciplines. The Scientific Board members work in a voluntary capacity and undertake their evaluations in their free time, despite their very busy schedules. The evaluation process is managed by the UNESCO Secretariat, and we thank the members of the Scientific Board for their hard work and their contribution. As you've already seen, the International Geoscience Programme currently has 5 core themes: Earth resources, global change, geohazards, hydrology, and geodynamics. Next. The IGCP Council met on the 10th and the 11th of March and evaluated 43 active projects based on the assessments provided by the members of the Scientific Board. Following their evaluations, 9 projects were successfully completed and will be closed. In 2024, there will be 34 active projects, which together will receive total funding of around $227,000. Next. Here's a list of the projects that will run in 2024. You will hear more about some of these in the coming presentations. Next. As I am the leader for geoheritage, I will take this opportunity to highlight just one of the projects within this theme. It's a project called 4Geon, connecting Geoparks local communities through earth heritage education in 4 continents. And it includes collaboration between Geoparks in the Czech Republic, Tanzania, Nicaragua, the Philippines, and Peru. It's an absolutely outstanding example of what can be achieved in advancing the value of geoheritage, both for education and for the support of Indigenous communities in global geoparks. Next. So what about the future? The world we live in is changing. And so the UNESCO International Geoscience Programme must change too. Growing global population and the increasing threat of climate change means that we must adopt a different approach to life, based on the responsible, equitable, and sustainable use of the Earth's resources, resilience to natural hazards, adaptation to climate change, and the preservation of our planet's biodiversity and geodiversity. Geoscience and geoscientists have a critical role in developing and sustaining this new approach. And the UNESCO International Geoscience Programme must drive forward the geoscience required. At the 50th anniversary celebration of IGCP, held in this room in March last year, there was overwhelming support for the UNESCO International Geosciences Programme to address the critical geoscience challenges the world will face in the next 50 years, and to develop the next generation of earth scientists who will meet those challenges. Next. Following a series of internal and external reviews, as you've heard, including the IEGS ARC review of IGCP, the IGUS meeting in Africa, the 50th anniversary of IGCP, and the Forest Survey in Africa, UNESCO, IUGS, and the IGCP Council have developed a new vision and priorities. New projects will not be initiated, and the current projects will be terminated to the next possible date. There will be a new regional focus, with Africa recommended as the initial region, but that focus will rotate, probably every 4 years, with Latin America becoming a possible upcoming region. The secondary priority includes decarbonising geothermal energy and hydrogen, along with looking for strategic minerals. We will be seeking collaborators from the global south, with initial focus on the Great Lakes region of Tanzania and Kenya. UNESCO will prioritise fostering data exchange between industries and scientific communities. And it will seek partners to launch a pilot feasibility study in the Great Lakes region. Next. This new vision and priorities will include work with IUGS and other partners and with the private sector to identify the critical minerals required for the energy transition and to develop sustainable ways to develop new energy resources such as natural hydrogen, to store carbon dioxide, and to harness the power of low carbon renewable energy sources such as geothermal. The IGCP Council, in association with IGS and other organizations, is now developing a small number of new high-impact flagship IGCP projects that will address geoscience aspects of the energy transition and the sustainable use of the Earth's natural resources, with an initial focus on Africa. Later this year, for example, we will put out a call to academic institutions, member state organizations, and the private sector to provide expertise, data, and funding for a major new project to evaluate the vast geoenergy resources of the East African Rift System, and to build the geoscience capability in Africa that will be required for African nations to develop and manage these resources themselves in a sustainable way. Look at that one. The collaboration with the private sector will include a new joint project between UNESCO and ENI, funded by ENI, to develop, implement, and test a new open source collaborative ecosystem called GECO. This new platform has been designed by ENI in association with Amazon World Services and uses Amazon's world-leading artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities. It allows the analysis and integration of different data and information sources to accelerate geological modeling, geological analysis, and the de-risking of surface and subsurface geohazards. The world's transition to a new low-carbon energy future requires us to do three things. We must continue to meet the world's rapidly increasing demand for affordable and reliable energy. We must drastically reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we must lift a significant proportion of the world's population out of energy poverty. And we must do these three things simultaneously. This will be an unprecedented global challenge. Geoscientists bring unique skills to the energy transition. Given their deep knowledge of climate change through geological time and their deep experience of solving highly complex problems, dealing with complex Earth systems, and managing big data. Geoscience skills will be needed to provide the increasing amount of energy the world needs in the decades to come. We must now harness the intellectual capacity of UNESCO's worldwide network of Earth scientists and that of UNESCO's partners to achieve this new vision. It's now my pleasure to introduce the members of my council who will take you through the details of some of the most important and impactful projects in the current programme. First, Gloria.
Thank you. I am Deputy Chairman. Okay. The topic that I want to share with you at this time is resources, and resources is everything. Speaking in the geoscience point. I am Gloria Prieto, I am from Colombia, and I am a member of the council. The Earth topic is a very wide topic. And in this theme, we are concentrated in carbon storage, conventional and renewable energy sources, and exploration and ethical mining. All of these topics involve every resources And we want in our projects that the projects emphasize in sustainable approaches and environmental responsibility. These are the topics that just now around the world the society is demanding, so we emphasize in our projects with this point of view. For 2023, we have 14 projects, and all of the project list is in the screen, include many topics all related to resources. Some of these projects are terminated, are paused in 2023, and another ones continue for the next and the next years come. As board, we want to share with you some of the examples of the projects that we are doing and we are supporting in this program. The first one, the daily topic is energy transition. The name is geothermal resources for energy transition. And in each one of these projects, many countries are working at not only countries, developing countries, but also another countries, developed countries that are working together. And as you know, geothermal energy is the heat contained in the interior of the earth. And this heat provides renewable energy, clean energy, and all of this help to sustainable development goals. What about the project? The project is still focused in promotes the use of geothermal resources as a clean, low carbon base load and renewable energy. They are constructing capacity building with training courses, but also they are doing work implementing new technologies and new ways to use this kind of energy. And they are very interested in activities, conducting outreach activities with focal groups. In the countries, for example, that are participating, they are focusing on explaining how this geothermal energy can be used with the communities. And promoting, as I said before, the installation of new equipment, such as, for example, geothermal heat pumps. And in 2023, this project achieved very good goals, and they are doing the Canadian team with advances in the use of these methodologies, but also the training course and the capacity building with young people, especially geoscientists that are in this project are interested in explaining to the communities, and we have very good results. The next topic that we want to share with you is Stone for Development work, integrated learning and integration program. Most of you have heard about the development minerals. This is a kind of knowledge that everybody with the local communities, and they are composed approximately 84% of the global mineral production, and these minerals are used produced by artisanal, small and medium businesses. So the production is local and makes significant impact on local community development. The project is focused on introduce this topic in a scientific way to the new and young geoscientists from different parts of the world. And the courses, training courses online and also face-to-face field trips. So they are doing a very good work. And they are explaining how this kind can be used in this friendly way with the environment. And in 2023, the project did these outputs, very remarkable outputs, limestone and clay resource mapping for low carbon selling fish. This was a training course with field trip in the operation, and many young people was doing this work. And also the other one is a questionnaire about disaster preparedness in the quarry sector. We know that it does occurs in localities, so they are doing this work that is very important for local communities. And the last one topic that we want to share with you is the environmental of Western Rwanda. The name of the project is they call Igor. And this is dedicated to another point. And another point is the volcanic activity. It's an active stratovolcanic in the mountains that have that possess a risk how do you say, impact the health of the population in that region. So this is a very important task because in 2021, this volcano did the last eruption. And the project is focusing comprehension in understanding the behavior of this volcano and to explain to the communities, to emphasize to the communities about the risks that this natural environment can have in the health of the population, but also how change the soils properties and also how they impact in the and the lakes that are located in that region. And in 2023, they did a very interesting survey, house by house, with the population, looking for information for doing soil mapping surveys and of the volcano, but also to look for the feelings of the population about their health and about the relationship between the people and the volcano that is naturally in that region. And they are doing a very good work, not only a geoscientist team, but also the interdisciplinary scientists, health and social scientists. This is a good example how the projects can include another science and also how they have to work with the communities. This is example how this young people is working in this topic of resources. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sohan Nasser, representing 4 countries, Palestine, Jordan, Canada, and Oman. I'm working in Oman since 25 years, and I'm sharing the UNESCO chair for ocean studies, as well as the director of earth science at the University of Sultan Qaboos. This is my 6th year in the IGCP Council, and I'm sharing the global team. Actually, we are dealing with the global team, we are dealing with the earth, and we know that the our Mother Earth is a dynamic planet. Global changes are affecting the Earth since its creation. But through these changes, through time, these changes were uniform, and that created a principle known by the geologists as the uniformitarianism, and it's known as the present is the key to the past. So we study the present in order to explain what was going in the past. At the same time, we can study the past in order to solve geological process going on. So we have 7 projects for this year. All of them were Excel projects representing different continents and a large number of participants. In all these projects, large collaboration, successful in their publication and their outreach and their conference meeting. And I'm going just to show 2 of these projects, which are really flag projects. One project is related to forecasting the coastal change. As a human being, we start noticing as coastal region, I start to show some evidences of degradation, some residential areas being affected. And so this project includes different scientists from all over the world, especially from coastal region. Geologists with different disciplines, they are trying to model the coastal changes, especially the sea level rises, and what would be the consequence of these in the future. So the output of this project, they brought together many scientists from all over the world. They made panel discussion, they made training, they made social activity and many outreach. The second project, it's related to the Anthropocene, language of Anthropocene. Now, this term Anthropocene is actually a new term in geological column. We are living now in the Holocene, which started almost before 1 million years till now. But within the last 50 years, I would say, geologists start to notice that there are some changes in their rock deposit. Rock deposits are related to the activity of a human being, from plastic to concrete to trashes. All these are starting to form some tens of meters of deposit related to human being activities. And geologists start to advise giving a new epoch, let's say, a new time epoch started since the interaction of a human being with nature. So in lakes and river, you'll find always these deposits, especially plastic, trashes, concrete. And so the aim of this project is to introduce a new language, which is very important for the future, predicting what will be the future during this time epoch. We have a large number of participants in this project. And the activity were very successful, large number of publications, large number of meetings, large number of outreaches. And this is one of the flag projects which is really very successful. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Mohamed Jalouddin. I'm the Director General of the Centre d'études et de recherche de Djibouti. It's the National Research Center, which is a multidisciplinary research center. And in 2022, we launched an observatory, regional observatory for research on climate and environment concerning the whole region on the eastern side of Africa. I'm going to address the projects within the IGCP framework concerning hydrogeological field. And so what is important there is that groundwater systems represent a major part of the water that is being used by human beings. And in the whole freshwater, it represents more than 99% of the whole water that we can have on the planet. 1/4 for the fresh water is used through the groundwater resources systems. It could be for drinking water, industrial uses, agricultural activities, etc. And so the importance of the groundwater makes that there have been several studies that has been undertaken, and with the help of UNESCO and IUGS, the IGCP project framework, there have been several projects that has been undertaken since a few years, and now we can see 5 projects in 2023. Some of them are closing, and some of them are continuing. These projects deals with different activities, as hydrogeology is a very broad science. It's a multidisciplinary science. And we can see that the IGCP 663 deals with land subsidence, related also with the problems of seawater elevation and the consequences on the infrastructure construction on the coastal areas. The projects like the water, energy, and food nexus, it's a very interesting project, but it still needs to be developed. And I will focus more on 2 of them. One is the hydrogeological significance of the Mediterranean geoparks. We have several countries in it: Palestine, Jordan, Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, and Spain. And the target in this project is to study and look at the springs, freshwater springs, which potential flow rate and quality changes over the time. And the question is to look at the hydrogeology of these different systems in order to understand how that behaves along the time under the anthropogenic activities and the global change that we observe since now several years. The objective from that is to have an idea of the potential of these resources in order to better implement management of these groundwater resources systems in different complex systems. This year, in 2023, the project achieved very significant advances. They have several international reviewers papers, well recognized, and they have had several activities in terms of sensitization or outreach, exchange with the stakeholders, and having more information through social media to bring to the people in order to understand better what is the issues of having a better management of the water resources. Next project concerns also a very dynamic project that is located in South America, where we have Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, but also France, United States, Switzerland, and Spain involved in that project. It concerns a high plateau, altiplano plateau in South America, where they experience that in groundwater systems that they use, there's arsenic. And so the objective of the project is to undertake the different studies, especially geochemistry, but also studies on the structure of the reservoir in order to understand the origin of this arsenic, which is a poison, of course, and it is not accepted above 1 microgram per liter as stipulated by the international standards. So they achieved really very significant work first on the information they have had methodologically towards the people and the decision-making institutions to let them know what are the dangers and what is undertaken, and to use them to have a better management of these water resources. They also concluded with several publications, papers, and we congratulate them really very much. Just to conclude, I think this experience of IGCP projects, this is my last year with some other colleagues here. I think we need to support that initiative that lasts for several years now in order to fulfill its very interesting goals, because those projects relate directly between scientists, the people, different level people, and also the decision-making people. So what I hope is that should be more supported in the future for these all projects. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Young Hee Kyu from South Korea, and I'm a council member of Geohazard team. I'm a seismologist by training, and I'm a professor at Seoul National University for teaching and earthquake research. And also, I'm a director of Research Center for Deep Surface Coupling of the Earth. So as we have witnessed the devastation from large earthquakes globally, many of the geohazards can be high impact extreme events which can directly affect our society and environment. So under the theme of the geohazard, UNESCO IGCP has been supporting projects with topics that are related to, first, geohazard forecasting based on data analysis and modeling, and second, geohazard mitigation, and the third, geohazard risk reduction. So there are total 8 projects that will be supported this year, and so those you see on the screen were selected based on criteria which are scientific excellence, capacity building for knowledge transfer, and societal impact. So now, please allow me to introduce 3 outstanding IGCP projects under the theme of the geohazard. So the first is related to the risk reduction by carefully defining the risk potential in Himalaya. So this project objective is to better understand the behavior of debris-covered glacier and growing lakes due to climate change in the eastern part of Himalaya. So therefore, better assessing the glacier-related hazard and the impacts on the local communities. So the project team is using the satellite data to better quantify the behavior of this the debris-covered glaciers as for the scientific goal to achieve. But then with the IGCP fund, the team primarily focuses on transferring the scientific knowledge to local institutions by doing a series of training workshops along with the field campaigns. So in 2023, so the last year, team has successfully conducted the 2 capacity building activities, 2 hands-on training workshops, and the field trips in Peru and Nepal. So the second project is regarding tsunami, working toward the tsunami mitigation. So we have already witnessed the destructive nature of tsunami from the cases like 2004 Sumatra earthquake and also the 2011 Japan Tohoku earthquake. So tsunami can be triggered from various sources like earthquakes, volcanic eruption, and submarine landslides. And tsunami can not only cause damage to the local region close to the tsunami source, but also cause enormous damage to nearby countries that are distant from the tsunami source location. Therefore, the project investigating tsunami can potentially create large impacts on both human and society in various levels. So this particular project investigates the evidence of the prehistoric tsunami, large earthquake, and landslide in the coastal region of Makran subduction zone. So this project tried to come up with a better tsunami hazard scenario for enhancing the mitigation effort and reducing losses from the future tsunami. So last year, despite the challenging political situation in the area, the project team was able to manage the fieldwork and collect the samples like pilot tsunami sediments in the Iranian shoreline. So this year, with the IGCP fund, the team will analyze this valuable sample to better constrain the recurrence interval of the past tsunami in this region, which can ultimately lead to a more realistic tsunami scenario. So the last one is the project that deals with the volcanic eruption. So during the eruption, we all know that the emission of the volcanic gases and ashes will inevitably follow, and such can create negative impact on human and environment from local to global scale, depending on the size and location of the volcano. So therefore, a timely assessment of the volcanic plumes can be the most critical for the short-term prediction that could be given to local communities right away. And also this timely assessment can be very important to assessing the large-scale prediction of this volcanic eruption. So whether it can lead to short-term climate change. So this particular project involves researchers from 8 different countries to collect the volcanic emission data in Africa. So the team has been helping locals to install instruments for the data collection, but more importantly, they're helping local people in Africa to analyze the data themselves as a capacity building activities. So lastly, I'd like to take this precious opportunity briefly to advertise the upcoming International Geological Congress meeting in Busan, South Korea. And this IGC meeting occurs every 4 years like the Olympics. And this year's meeting will be in beautiful city Busan in South Korea at the last week of August. So as a member of organization committee for this year's event, I sincerely ask for your interest and support for this meeting, and I look forward to seeing you all at IGC in Busan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I maybe ask for an applause for the council for their collective work? Thank you so much. I would have wished actually to give you more opportunity for some questions and answers. The thing is that there's some misunderstanding with the coffee, and they came already at 3 o'clock. They stay until 3:40. So if you want to grab a coffee, and I think it's still a long session here, I would suggest we take a coffee right now. We come back at 3:45, and then we still have 15 minutes for an exchange. Would that be all right? Thank you very much for that. Excellencies, thanks for coming back. May I ask that we resume? Thank you very much. They're coming back, and before we start at 4 o'clock with the information meeting on Geoparks, I would like to give the floor maybe to any questions from the audience, or if there is any representative of the international geoscience committees in the respective countries or the national commissions. If you wish to share what you're doing in your respective countries related to the program, this would be the moment. Any particular question? Nope. I see. I'm sorry, Teres, I see the flag. Portugal. Yes. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm going to speak in French. I can even do some Portuguese, but I'll say this in French. I would just like to thank the Secretariat of UNESCO, Özlem, Christoph, for the excellent work that they are doing on geosciences and earth sciences. And I would also like to say how much I appreciate the work done by all the experts that we had the pleasure to listen to this afternoon. It is indeed food for thought, because it gives us an idea about what is possible, what can be achieved with limited resources. I think that even with such few resources, you are managing to actually do miracles. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contributions. I would just like to say a few words concerning the IGCP's work. Özlem said, and I appreciated that greatly, that it was important to spread the virus of geosciences, and I couldn't agree more. I agree that in the current situation, and given all the challenges that humanity is facing, that it is indeed very important that at the country level, the community of geoscientists is stimulated by what UNESCO is doing. And in this respect, I think that it would be very important that national geoscience committees that are working directly with UNESCO should be asked to contribute more to our work in UNESCO and contribute more of their work to what we do. This is just a suggestion. In the past, we were lucky to have national communities tell us what they were doing, make reports from their committees. And that was important because we could do networking and we were able to meet other colleagues from other countries, exchange and collaborate, etc. So that was my first comment. Secondly, Madam Prieto, I saw in Madam Prieto's presentation that amongst centers of interest and expertise, there was also a question of gender advocacy in the field of geosciences. And this is also something that is very important to UNESCO, empowerment and participation of women in science, in innovation, in research, etc. So I just wanted to ask Ms. Prieto, to what extent the work carried out by the International Geoscience Program can serve as a tool for gender equality and women's empowerment in science in general, but particularly in geosciences. I just wanted to make one last comment on the work that was presented in a very summary fashion, because we don't have enough time, of course. I noticed that work was being done at as far as tsunamis and natural disasters are concerned, as well as earthquakes are concerned. And I was wondering if among the groups that each of you are presiding over, there's anything that is being done on marine geology, because 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by oceans.
and these ocean beds, of course, are directly linked with geosciences. So have you given this some thought? Have you considered marine geology in your work? Thank you very much, and congratulations once again for the excellent work that you're doing.
Özlem, you want to respond?
I translated the questions that I think they will. I will just intervene very briefly for national committees. Yes, please. And this was, we both remember 7 years ago, they used to come here. We have only Austria today, I think, representative to Austria National Committee. And I think COVID stopped traveling and people intervening. I think some of them are connected online. We have high number of online participation and they are listening. But yes, because of COVID, I think we lost. And I am desperately trying for geology, geosciences and geoparks national committees to get that. This is on our agenda, but I think we somehow, since COVID, we lost that momentum and they stopped traveling. Regarding your question about women, how IGCP can help women geoscientists, I think Gloria can talk hours on that. I will try to control. And other council members will, you can contribute the question about how IGCP or geosciences with ocean sciences and how we see ocean-related research topics within the IGCP world, if you have any comments.
Here.
Okay.
Okay. I talked to you in the break, and I think that we are doing our work from IGCP program and from UNESCO in terms of emphasize that the involvement of female geoscientists must be a goal. If we are evaluating some project, our task is to emphasize that must be involvement of women. And for this, in every evaluation, you can evaluate a table where say how much geoscientists, how many males, how many females. Because if they are, and we ask for improving that figures, because if they think that the women can be involved in these kind of activities, for sure, and it's our, how do you say, you have to fulfill this requirement, is a requirement. They want to do it and they are doing just now. And I said also that the women must have empowerment, must feel that they have the capacity to lead and to participate in those kind of geoscience activities, and they are doing. It's not easy, as everyone knows. It's difficult because the women is a slang. Women, you can do it, but you have to. In our countries, for example, the poor countries, we have to be mothers, housekeeper, geoscientist, etc., play all the roles at the same time, and it's not easy. But I think that we are in our projects in that way. Every time we require this involvement of the females.
Yeah, to answer the question about marine sciences, on behalf, just from my point of view, it's not really from UNESCO at all, is that most of the big marine programs that exist, if you take, and the seafloor, if you take the International Ocean Drilling Program, that's one of the best ones, there is actually limited involvement from the Global South because they're not members. Yeah, it's a membership-driven organization. Nonetheless, I think there are large geophysical programs that have happened. I'm looking at one from IPGP here, where when they're operating in national waters around Indonesia or places like this, they do get people involved. And basically, marine geoscience is expensive, really expensive. So the added value of 20,000 is quite difficult. There, I thought Satrish would say something.
So I'll mention two things. One about the marine part, which I'm a marine geophysicist. I think it might be interesting to think about how a marine geopark concept, if it is already not there, where some of the marine area, which is in the Atlantic or the Pacific, and in the Southern Ocean as well, that will bring out more awareness of the science as well as the society. So that will be my suggestion for marine geopark, if that's possible. The second point I would like to mention, I appreciate what you have done with such little money. You do wonders. I must congratulate you all for your wonderful work and the leadership and the organization. Small money goes a long way. Well done. I could see there is a participation from ENI, thanks to Professor Craig. But since you are involved in Global South, which is, there is energy, thermal, water, minerals, and climate, all four are key for Global South. And bit of work from UNESCO and the politics of the leadership, I'm pretty sure you will have all the big companies. Western will put the money, provided you play the game. I should not use the game, use the wording, because everyone is interested in the Global South, particularly in Africa. So I think there should be an effort from the UNESCO side and the leadership to engage the partners, such as ENI, Total, BP, Shell, Schlumberger. I know Schlumberger funds water resources. So I think there is a need to kind of broaden the consortium. Thank you.
Maybe if I could just reply to that very briefly, that is exactly the concept that we have for the future. We can see that there is an opportunity to involve industry, not just in terms of funding, but industry has expertise and it has a lot of data. And a lot of that data, surprisingly, does not have commercial value anymore for the companies. And one of the objectives, I think, is to get that data released so that it can be used for scientific purposes in programs like the IGCP program. So that's exactly the way we see the future.
Taking that idea further, I have a program of master at IPG Paris. We get a lot of applicants from China, India, but not much from Africa. So there is a capacity building is also required at a very large level. And I think I know some of a friend of mine at MIT is trying to have a distant learning program. And I think UNESCO could play an important role in funding plus capacity building education.
I can remember that the IGCP have supported several projects regarding the oceanography, especially the earth science oceanography. One of them is related to the exploration of mineral resources in the ocean, and the other one is related to mineral resources and the recycling of the oceanic lithosphere. That's what we can do, and I know there are many researches being done in the oceanic lithosphere in the continent. That's the ophiolite. So there are many researches supported by the UNESCO on such topics, especially in Oman, with the ophiolite in Oman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Martina.
Thank you, Christoph. Yeah, I'm from Czech Republic, and I just wanted really to thank all the council for fantastic job, because we all know how hard it is to go through all the projects and to work on it. And I wanted also express my feelings that this is really a fantastic direction we are going to merging or improving synergy between two pillars, the UNESCO Global Geoparks and Geosciences. It's better and better, and we see how much these UNESCO Global Geoparks are helping in popularization of the geosciences. And also, our project for John, we tried really to touch local communities and indigenous people, and I think this is something really, really necessary. And also, as being part of UNESCO Commission, our country, I really wanted to express our thanks to all the work, not only to the IGCP Council, but also IGGP program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think with this, we can close this first part of the meeting, and we move not far away to the UNESCO Global Geoparks, the other pillar. You will see that there's a lot of interaction between the science and the sites. A lot of the geoparks are involved in the IGCP program, and the IGCP program is very much connected to the geoparks. Now, normally at this kind of open session, we just highlight the new geoparks that are online. We mentioned briefly the geoparks that we bring to the executive board, but this time we intended to go a little bit more into the details, explaining what exactly we're doing to balance the geographic representation of geoparks, what we're doing to train people in areas where the concept is much less known, and to confront you maybe as well a little bit with our challenges and see how we can solve this together. So you will see a bit of how we see the geoparks, the achievements that we've gone through, but also a little bit the struggle that we've been dealing with and how we can go through this. It's still a very young program, right? You know that it was adopted in 2015, so there's still a lot we can learn together from each other. Now, as we are very proud to have the IUGS with us for the first part, I'm very proud as well that we have here the presence of the Global Geoparks Network President. Although Nicolas Zoros, the president, is not personally with us, he fell ill last weekend, and so we managed to get him connected online, and I hope that we managed to get through the technical aspects of that. Now, Nicolas, I'm not sure if you can hear us. I have the feeling that I'm talking to God here, but are you somewhere with us?
Hey. Morning, Christoph.
Look, Nicolas, we don't see you on the screen, but we hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much for being with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much indeed. It's a great pleasure and honor to be with you. Unfortunately, I didn't manage, although I have already booked my flights and accommodation to be with you due to health reasons. I'm really very glad for this opportunity as representing the Global Geoparks Network, the network which hosts 195 UNESCO Global Geopark, is the official partner of UNESCO for this UNESCO Global Geoparks program. I'm really very proud for the work that all the colleagues in the Global Geoparks Network are doing to support UNESCO, to support the evaluation of new applications all over the globe. But today, permit me also to say that I'm extremely happy because GGN, the Global Geoparks Network, is celebrating the 20th anniversary since its foundation. And it's very important that the foundation of the Global Geoparks Network took place at the same room where you are now working, when in 2004, with the support of IUGS, IUCN, IGU, UNESCO decided to form this network, this voluntary network, in order to support the creation of geoparks worldwide. 10 years after this historical moment, UNESCO, the General Conference, decided the foundation of IGGP, the International Geoscience and Geoparks Program. And we are very happy that IUGS supported, during all these years, the development of geoparks around the globe. And also, I'm very proud that all colleagues from 195 geoparks are contributing in time and effort, always at a voluntary basis, for the development of this network. We had an excellent collaboration with UNESCO Secretariat all these years, and especially after the foundation of the UNESCO Global Geoparks Program, we tried together under the new initiatives of UNESCO and GGN grant on geoparks to help territories, especially in Africa and Arab states, but also in small island developing states, in order to proceed with the applications of new territories, as we do understand that the geographical representation of geoparks is not balanced. Through the activities of UNESCO and the Global Geoparks Network, we are very happy that the previous gaps in Latin America and North America is already filled in with various geoparks, and recently several missions, advisory missions have been launched in different parts of the world in order to have new geoparks in Africa, in Caribbean, but also in the small island states in the Pacific. We do know that a lot of efforts need to be done in the years to come in order to cover all the global, all the world in a really representative way, because there are treasures of geological heritage in different parts of the world that needs special management, special protection, and we hope that the results of geoparks management and operation during the last 20 years have contributed to the work of UNESCO in order to safeguard our geological heritage around the globe. As president of the Global Geoparks Network, I represent all the members of the executive board, working closely with the members of the UNESCO Global Geoparks Council, and permit me also to thank all the members of the UNESCO Global Geoparks Council for their excellent work all these years that helped significantly the increase of the number of geoparks around the globe. I don't want to take more of your time. Once again, I would like to thank Secretariat, Christophe, Oslem, all the members of the UNESCO Global Geoparks Secretariat for the tremendous work that and contribution in order to provide help to areas without geoparks through mentorship programs, through capacity building activities, through various initiatives that support the development of geoparks around the globe. I'm sure that in the years to come, we will have many more good results, and permit me also to thank IUGS for the evaluation of the international significance of the geological heritage in all these geopark applications. By saying this, I just want to tell you that the main goal in the years to come is to support geoparks in all around the globe, providing support in order to show that geoparks working on this for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals will be excellent examples and useful examples, not only for the scientific community, but also for the communities around the globe, having different challenges, showing that heritage, protection of heritage, enhancement of heritage, both natural and cultural, is an important tool that help our communities to go farther in the future. With these words, I would like to thank you so much and warm congratulations to all the geoparks around the globe, and many thanks to UNESCO Secretariat for supporting the development of this program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Thanks for being with us. I hope you feel better soon. Please stay connected because some of the initiatives that you just highlighted will be handled in more details. And I just see that we are more than 120 people connected as well. So a very warm welcome to everyone who is following us online. Now, I assume we can go to the presentation and then we keep questions to the end. Okay, yeah, just Özlem says that there is comments as well in the comments section. We will handle them as well at the end. So we intend to have a presentation of a little bit less than 1 hour, and then keeping half an hour for questions and answers. We will handle then as well the questions of the people that raise them online. So you will see here the presentation. I will bring it together with Özlem. We will be sharing the presentation between ourselves. Just to say that with the UNESCO Global Geoparks, we are just supporting member states in conserving and restoring their ecosystems, be it from a biodiversity angle or from a geodiversity angle. I don't know where I should, yeah, there we go. So Nicholas mentioned that they're celebrating, the Global Geoparks Network is celebrating 20th anniversary for UNESCO. UNESCO Global Geoparks entered in 2015. So we keep next year as a big celebration, 2025. When they entered under UNESCO wings, there were 120 geoparks in 33 countries. And today there are 195 in 48 countries. And if the member states follow the decision of the last council, then we will be 213 next week in 48 countries. So you see that this is really one of the fastest growing programs at UNESCO. There's figures there to the right that I would like to highlight because I just, it was mentioned by Nicholas, there's a lot of voluntary work that goes into the program. There were 380 missions held since 2015, missions to assess new applications, missions to revalidate existing geoparks. This is each time 2 experts that go there. These experts come from a roster of basically geopark experts from geopark managers or people with a very extensive experience in managing geoparks. So if you calculate it all together, knowing that this takes more or less 5-6 days for the mission, 4 or 5 days to write the report, it's 10 days. A quick calculation tells you that we can look back at 7,720 days, man days of work, voluntary work that goes into the governance of the program, voluntary work delivered by experts. So our magic number seems to be 18. There are 18 new applications this year, and you will find them online. I will go further into the details of that later. There's also 18 new geoparks on the agenda and item 219 EX8. You may have seen that, probably to be handled next Friday. So I just wish to mention here the new ones that you will have a chance to adopt next week. The first transboundary one since a long time between Belgium and the Netherlands. There's also Uberaba in Brazil. Then there is 6 of them in China, which is odd because normally there is only 2 new applications each time. There can only be 2 active applications. But there was a lot of accumulation of geopark applications in China due to the COVID restrictions. There were travel restrictions much longer than in any other part of the world. It was only opening up the airspace in February last year. So there were a lot of missions held in China last year, a reason why we have 6 new ones there. But from now on, we're back on a regular rate of proposals and a regular rate of missions. So we really caught up over the last years with the missions. These are the new applications, the 18, as I said, again from Brazil. Maybe if I may briefly highlight here that we have 2 applications from Saudi Arabia as well. We have another application from Morocco. We're very proud about this as well. So this is really a region where we've been focusing much on in the last years. We also have an application from Tanzania, so you will see that this is really our target. And so we're happy to see that there's applications now coming from those countries as well. Next slide. So if all the delegations, all the member states have received an email, you will see as well there's the document. It's a short summary of each of the applications. Is online. You can have a look at it if you're more curious. You can ask us questions as well about these applications. They are online for a period of 3 months, and that's the statutes that impose it. Is basically to give you the chance to see who is applying this year. And if all goes well, then this summertime we will organize the missions to assess these geoparks, and they will be handled in September in the next council in Vietnam. Next slide. And I guess you take over from here. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you will hear lots from two of us this time, and we will have some breaks. So, Nicolas Zuros, the president of Global Geoparks Network, explained the objectives of UNESCO Global Geoparks. So, UNESCO, I mean, I think we have several meetings. We always talk UNESCO is about sustainable development of local communities. Could be in our water program, could be on our cultural heritage program, could be on our intangible heritage program. What we try here is to help our local communities and our member states. We have high number of programs at UNESCO, but what we are really proud, I think, in the natural sciences sector, in collaboration with culture sector, is our UNESCO designated sites. So we have 3 UNESCO designated sites, and the oldest 2 are World Heritage Sites and Biosphere Reserves. World Heritage Sites have cultural and natural heritage sites, and Biosphere Reserves are focusing more on the natural aspects. So these 2 sites existed more than 50 years now, and late arrival is UNESCO Global Geoparks. So we collaborate intensively between 3 designations you will see later. So within UNESCO, we are one family because all we want is help you and our member states to achieve UN 2030 agenda. And these sites, like our programs, are just tools to go from point A to point B. So they have different values, they have different connections, but all they do is sites. And then a small summary of these 3 designations, and I always explain that because even our member states are very keen and motivated to apply for UNESCO Global Geoparks, and with several missions and trainings I had globally, we still see, and it's today's objective information session, that's not still very clear, the differences and similarities between these 3 designations. So World Heritage Site is the oldest site, most known and most popular sites. It's a UN convention. So as most of you are aware, it's based on UN convention, very high numbers, very popular, and it goes very strict commitment of member states and managed in a member states level for the protection of outstanding universal value. So this is the magic word, and it's outstanding value of a site, and it's a territory, it's a property. And when we come to biosphere reserves, this is an intergovernmental program. So it's not in a convention level, but it's still in an intergovernmental level. And we are dealing mostly with the member states who do appoint, who do decide these sites. And we have, again, high number of sites, and they are focusing on the conservation of biodiversity for sustainable development. They have different zones, we can go on that, but their main focus is the biodiversity along with others. And then when we come to International Geoscience Program, part of Global Geoparks, which we will talk, it's an international program. So as our experts, you listened earlier today, it's a program designated, designed by international experts. So we are in the scientific expertise level. It is nominated and appointed by member states, of course. That's why the intergovernmental check is ongoing for 3 months. Member states will allow sites to be assessed, but then all the assessment and the decision will be made by experts, international experts, independent experts. So it's a very important difference. Sometimes it's very easy to understand, but as we are in the UNESCO family, within the comparison, we see within some member states level, it's not that simple. So if you have questions, please do contact us and we can explain you in more details. So we will talk whole next hours about geological heritage, protection, education, and conservation. So this is the uniqueness of UNESCO Global Geoparks. They touch all aspects, but our main focus will be geological heritage. So in that point...
My name is William Kimosop. I'm the chief...
Before we start, I would like to... So today's meeting is about UNESCO Global Geoparks. And this is our motivation to explain to you about, but why we do that. I think if someone asks me when I wake up in the morning and I look at the mirror, why I do, I think that's what I wanted to show you, this gentleman. This is, I have another colleagues in that room. So I have many people in my life, I think our life, we live with them, with these people who want to have their geopark. This is William, who is the leader of Baringo County Geopark from Kenya. And he's been working for more than 10 years to have the first geopark in Kenya. And he will tell you why he wants to have a geopark and how he sees the contribution of geopark to his region and his country. And then we will explain you how we help him.
My name is William Kimosop. I'm the chief county warden for Baringo County. My work involves wildlife conservation and also the landscapes. And for a long time, I have been looking out for a situation where the wildlife, the people, the landscapes all come together. And there was nothing better than the geopark concept. And so when I found out about the geopark initiative, it was very exciting for me because this was one of the approaches that we probably never learned in college nor in the field. Africa has always been about the wildlife, but not very much the landscapes and the people. And the geopark concept filled this up. As I went on with my work, I found it good to engage communities and for them to really
because they really saw how this geopark concept helps their country's sustainable development. So these are the topics William was talking about. He said he's a park ranger. He's in the protection of fauna, flora, and biodiversity. But he understood that for his region, his country, geopark concept can help scientific education, scientific research, tackling climate change, enabling women, empowering with the geoparks management and geoparks education. And it's a rift country, it's a great rift area, and he saw the interactions with the geological hazards in this area. And we saw several examples in Baringo County, how the climate change is affecting local communities, migration, immigration. and indigenous communities. As you can imagine, they have local communities, they have Maasai communities, and how they brought actually, we were there and we saw indigenous communities' involvement and motivation to have geopark in their area. So geoparks tackle, along with several areas, sustainable and peace building around geoheritage management and protection. But how we do this? So one of the example again we would like to show you is these are two examples of geoparks. This is from Europe, and it's again we talked earlier how we collaborate with private sector. So it's a private sector financial support. We launched a call, and these geoparks applied and responded successfully how they use geopark territories as a laboratory to tackle research, to carry on research on climate change and sustainable development in their territories. They are receiving seed funding. These are not huge funding, but we hope that will bring them in a bigger area. But these geoparks from France and Romania, they are using their territories for the sustainable development and how they develop science for climate change in their areas. So with William, with our professor, and with our projects, I think we are convinced how they contribute sustainable development goals, and we see the numbers are increasing heavily because it's two of us until very recently in the secretariat. The workload is 18 is coming, but how we get there? So how is the process? As we said, it's clear for some countries, they are making very successful applications like China. We receive every year 2 applications and they go. But we still have only 48 countries having geoparks. And we would like to show you some challenges and processes to accelerate this process. So this is the main slide. I think if you would like to take something away from today, please remember that one. It's very summarized version if you want to have new geoparks in a countries we don't have a geopark. So as you can see on the left side, Christophe will explain you where we have deferrals or rejections from council. When a geopark application comes, a fully protected area. So it's a protected area, no one lives there. So we define and explain that geoparks are not protected areas. Geoparks are not natural parks. Geoparks are not national parks only. They could be, but it cannot be only. So I think this is the differences Christophe will explain you. It's okay to be connected with protected areas. It's okay to be national or national park, but not only. If the boundary is only these areas, we ask the question, so what? So if we are only national parks, what you want to be a geopark? And this sadly doesn't go through UNESCO Geopark Council. And then main pillars are 4 areas. It's geological heritage. I explained earlier between World Heritage Sites and Biosphere Reserves, our unique area, our special area is geological heritage. It should be geological heritage of international significance. That will be defined by International Union of Geological Sciences, by experts, but we and the Council will look at geological heritage. And then second, and really as equal as the first part area, is the management. There should be an independent management body. And that's why we say it's not a national park governed by the government. It is an independent management involving local communities, academia, local schools, museums. So the local community and people should be involved to that management. So that's what we say, independent management body. That's number 2 important criteria. And then 3 is visibility. That should be visible. So we will not see only national park or protected area logos or regional logos when we arrive. We arrive and we feel and we live in the geopark. That will be a visibility. And then last and not least important is the networking. So we have colleagues here. That's a huge network. The geoparks collaborate between each other. It's not one meeting every 4 years and we don't see each other. We exchange, we collaborate, we create projects, we work together. So when a geopark application will go through the council, these are the 4 areas they will look. So, and then Christophe will explain how they look on that.
Thank you very much, Özlem. So I will go a little bit deeper now in the process, in the preparation process, and the evaluation process, and then dive a little bit in the in the governance. Now you will see throughout the presentation that, well, geoparks, they started, some of the geoparks started already end of the 90s and basically in Europe, were quickly followed in China as well. And that's why China has now a lot of geoparks and has been inspiring the whole region. As was said as well, you see in Latin America and in Canada as well, a lot of geoparks coming up. But our strategy is, of course, to focus in particular on Africa and the Arab states and on the SIDS. Now, having said this, of course, we try to provide clarity for everyone, and everyone who is requesting support, who is requesting information, will of course be glad to support. The document that you see here was actually one of the ideas that we had to give a little bit more guidance on what the statutes actually say, because if you look at the statute, they say what a geopark is, but in reality, how do you get there? Now, this document is a checklist with 101 questions, and it has a little bit of a traffic light. And it's actually a document that can accompany you from the very beginning when you have the idea, because when you read it, it comes as well with an explanatory note, with some examples, with some ideas. It pretty much gives you already an idea of what a geopark is, what are the main criteria that you have to work on, where do you have to start. And it's actually a document that can guide you all the way through the preparation and the submission and the management, the further management of your geopark. So if we distinguish 4 phases, I would say, between the preparation and the nomination, the first one would probably be the longest and maybe the most complicated one. It's the whole preparation. Later, there's an expression of interest, which is basically just to raise the attention of the Secretariat that we can expect something. The evaluation process, I will go deeper into the details of that. And then the nomination, this is what we're going to be discussing next week. So the preparation, basically it all starts with a good idea, right? It needs somebody like William, who says, I think this is something for our region. It needs somebody like Hussam, who says, I think our country has the potential for that and we should work on it. But then our intention is, of course, how can you make sure that the person doesn't work in isolation? How can you support the person? And I think there is a responsibility there at national level as well. And that's why we're supporting our national commissions and our delegations in setting up a national pool of experts, a national geoparks committee. And it's pretty straightforward. It depends from country to country, but everyone can gather the experts around the table to reflect upon it in a more strategic manner, just to make sure that these geopark initiatives in their country are not working in isolation. There's, well, it was mentioned, there's a number of documents. Maybe if you can quickly go back, Özlem, there's a number of documents, the statutes and the operational guidelines. There's also on our website, if you go through it, there's some frequently asked questions. As I said, there is also the explanatory notes that come with 101 questions. That should be the very, very first step. Go through those documents and get a better idea of what UNESCO Global Geoparks are about and how you can start with it. And of course, as I said, we're always ready to support you, to help you in that phase. Next slide, please. So then, once that is done, and there is a lot of preparatory work before you come here to the expression of interest. As I said, you have to have a very good idea of what are your geological sites that you want to present. How do you present them? How do you interpret them? How do you want to reach out to the local community? Because to get everyone around the table, that's something that takes several years, I would say. Some countries are struggling to get the governmental support. So know that on average, even in Europe, in more experienced regions, it takes at least 5 years to come from idea to an actual submission of a geopark. And in other regions, that will not be different. Then the actual application dossier, there's a template online. It shows what we expect you to submit. So it's rather straightforward. There's maybe one document in there. I will go a little bit more deeper into the details, but it is Annex 2. Don't forget, UNESCO Global Geoparks should represent an international value. They should have geological heritage of international value. There's many geoparks that could qualify as a national geopark, but if you want to qualify as a UNESCO Global Geopark, it should have those qualifications. And what exactly that is, well, there is a document that IUGS submitted, presented, and it was adopted by the Council this year. It's a document that explains from A till Z what exactly international geological value means and how you can demonstrate it. So with this slide, the evaluation, that's then the next step. This evaluation, you will see there is a desktop study. This is what IUGS is doing. They're looking exactly at this international value. They're doing this from their desk. They're relying on a lot of international material, reports, articles, publications that are provided by the candidate. And then comes the moment that we send two evaluators, two experts to your area. They go through the different processes to the different criteria. This is, of course, a control function, but very often you have to see this as well as a bit of a coaching function. Definitely the first mission is always a little bit of an instructive, a coaching mission, I would say. Maybe one thing I would like to highlight here is that during the field visits, they make a report, they send this report to the Secretariat, this is sent to the Council. The Council not necessarily always follows the final judgment of the experts. And this is something that I would like to highlight here. They give their ideas, they give their observations, but they also say, in our view, this can be accepted or it can be deferred, it can be rejected. And the Council is not always following this because they're looking at other details, they're looking at other elements, and they have their considerations as well. And that's exactly their role. Next slide, please. So then comes the moment to celebrate it. Oh, it's a long time to wait between the decision of the Council. The Council took its decision, for example, in December last year. If all goes well, we will have new Geoparks on the 27th of March, the last day of the Executive Board. It's several months that you're somewhat in limbo. The champagne is cool in the fridge, but we still have to wait. It has to be nominated. That's exactly the role of the delegations as well. That's your role as well, to adopt or not to adopt that decision of the Council. So it can be an acceptance, it can be a rejection or a deferral. And maybe the difference of that, I can briefly explain it because it's not a detail. For the revalidations, every 4 years, I think we have one of the most frequent, well, I know we have one of the most frequent monitoring systems. Every 4 years, there's a new team of 2 evaluators going back to the territory, see if you still meet the criteria, and basically to see if you have met the recommendations that have been given to you during your last Council session. Now, the outcome of that can be a green card, which means that you can go again for 4 years using the certificate as a UNESCO Global Geopark. A yellow card means that you can work on for 2 years' time, but during those 2 years' time, you have to make sure that you meet the recommendations, that you address the recommendations that have been set to you. If you don't and you have 2 consecutive yellow cards, then it's like in football, then you have to step out for a while, and we hope then that you can come back. It doesn't happen too often, it didn't happen too often, and we try to avoid it in every possible way as well. Next slide. So this is just a bit of a summary of the procedure. I think it's just maybe what I would like to highlight here. You learn from the evaluator's experience, use that experience as well when they come to your site. Have a good briefing, have a good debriefing with them. See as well, try to learn from their views. Very often these evaluators are geopark managers themselves. There's a lot you can learn from it. So as I said, they're not coming as police officers. Use that moment as well to learn and maybe to get some ideas for the next phase. And then the moment of celebration, once you are nominated, we take pleasure, we take honor as well in highlighting and communicating around the new geoparks. We have short videos, we have photo material. So please share with us as well that material, those little short stories that we can share on social media. But we are very happy as well to use that opportunity to raise the profile of the geoparks. And then a plea that I have here, get involved in networking. The strength of the geoparks is absolutely in the networking. There is always somebody that can help you. There's always somebody that you can rely on, because there's always somebody who has the same problems or who went through the same problems as you are dealing with. So now moving to the actual Council decision. So we're still in the governance. This is the final step of your evaluation. These are 12 experts who have been suggested by the member states, who have been suggested by the GGN, and who have been nominated by the Director General of UNESCO. She tries to make sure that we have a good geographic balance, that we also have a bit of a balance in expertise, and that we have, of course, the gender balance as well. And then there's 4 ex officio members from organizations like IUGS, IUCN, GGN, and UNESCO. Of course, we have a place in that as well, non-voting rights. Now, let me please seize this opportunity to thank a number of people, because 6 of them will step out this year. Guy Martini, who has been the chairperson for a very long time. He has been guiding the council for several years. Martina Paskova is with us here today. Tran Tan Van from Vietnam, Marie-Louise Frey from Germany, Gabi Schneider from Namibia is going out as well, and Helga Chulipin from Uruguay. So they are leaving. There's going to be a call online soon. If you have experts in your countries, please tell them to apply, and we will hopefully have a new council by the next council session in September in Vietnam. So briefly going to the challenges and the opportunities. So a little bit what we have learned over the past years that we have been working with this program, what we have learned ourselves by mistake and by error sometimes as well. It's an international program. It was mentioned already. It's not an intergovernmental program. That's not a detail because it means that it's driven by experts, which is fantastic. But it also means that sometimes it remains a little bit under the radar as well. So it requires a little bit more work from us as well to raise the profile, to reach out actively to the national commissions, to see how we can work together, to see as well how they can support the geoparks development and the existing geoparks in their country. There's only 48 countries that have UNESCO Global Geoparks. Of course, that blind spot on the map is really something that bothered us from the very beginning and that we've been working on very much. It is a problem for several ways, but we think that as soon as we have a number of geoparks in the region, they will be able to inspire others and it will facilitate. So that's why we're really putting massive efforts and investments in a number of projects in Africa and the Arab states to make sure that they can access the network as soon as possible. Unfamiliarity of most national commissions with the geopark concept, it's not a blame, it's a fact. It's just it's a very recent concept as well. It's a recent concept for many people. So we try to reach out to the national commissions to help them, to support them as well. We had an event on the 11th of January with all the national commissions to promote the concept, but also to tell them how they can benefit from a national geoparks committee. And that's also something that we will certainly target much more in the next coming months and years, how to work together with national commissions, how to create national geopark committees. So the last point is maybe a little bit of a sign towards countries with geoparks. We see that they don't handle geoparks in the same way as they handle biosphere reserves. There are several reasons for that, but biosphere reserves and World Heritage sites can very often profit from governmental support, which is not always the case for geoparks. So that's also something that we would like to help with. Then learning from the past council reasons, why were applications deferred? Why were they rejected? As I said, it's not a minor detail, it's an important detail because a deferral means that, well, you can actually just come back with a progress report in 2 years' time. There is no new mission. Basically, it means that the council has a trust, hope, that you can respond and they can address the recommendations, and with a report we can actually convince them in the next council session that you have met those recommendations. While a rejection, even if the difference between both is sometimes very limited, but with a rejection, basically the idea is that the council believes that it requires a new mission on the field to see the actual difference that has been made. So you see that very often it's a weakness in management. It's not having a proper strategy or proper funding to get it through the next years. It's a weak understanding of the geopark concept as well. So sometimes it's a little bit of a rushed process without getting the concept right. Issues with geological heritage, this is something that we really would like to address together with IUGS, and I strongly believe that the guidelines that we have put now online and that they have developed are a really very good tool because they give much more guidance to their local geologists, also to the IUGS. When they assess it, it gives much more guidance of how to qualify international value. Lack of visibility, do not underestimate that. It is important that if you enter a geopark that you notice that you're in a geopark. It is important that you understand what the geopark is about, that you get the story. So this is something that requires an investment. It's maybe something that sets us a little bit apart from other site designations. And then border issues. The main important thing is that the border is clear, that it's logic, that it's recognizable, and sometimes that has not been thought through, and it's important that it's thought through from the very beginning because again, it's hard to correct it at a later stage. So rejection is the very same thing, but maybe a little bit stronger. It's also a lack of networking activities. It's important that there's visibility. If there is absolutely no visibility, it requires a lot of investment to make sure that there's visitor centers, that there's proper explanation at the geosites. And very often there is not even a website, so there's no way to find actually information about the geopark. So these are the things that we would like to avoid. We put much more effort in actually looking at the assessments from the moment at the applications from the moment we receive them. We don't wait until the council to find that actually it's a weak file. We try to see it from the moment that we are aware of it, that we receive it, sometimes to avoid a costly mission. So this is a little bit of a wrap-up of what I've said, the 4 areas that I would like to say, the takeaways. If you're working on a geopark, make sure that you get this right. Working with the national geopark committees, and I'm saying this because it's important as well, and from a country perspective, to think about the development of geoparks in a strategic manner. If you wait for the initiatives to pop up, you don't know where they're going to pop up. Whereas if you have a very proper and a good geological inventory, you know where your important sites are, you know where the communities could profit from it. This is how China did it, for example. I don't want to speak on behalf of China, but I think this is how they did it back then, really integrating it actually in a national policy. And I think many countries have followed that model. Strategic timing for geopark applications. You can read this in many ways. It's don't rush it, but don't wait too long either, because you're going to lose the community commitment. Some of the national commissions are actually asking that the application is sent to them first, and then they go with their experts to the territory before it is submitted to UNESCO. I think it's not a bad practice. It helps to filter out some shortcomings, and it makes sure that actually it's really meeting the requirements before it is sent to the Secretariat. Geological inventories, I said it already, I cannot underline it enough. It is very important to do this right. And then, well, support for inexperienced national geopark committees. There are a number of very strong national geopark committees. There are a number of countries who are using this properly, who have built up a lot of expertise and who are willing to share that expertise. We've had meetings and workshops in Africa together with Germany. We can rely as well on Spain. These are just a number. I mean, I know that Korea, for example, that Japan has very strong national pools of expertise, and they're willing to share that experience with others. So this is certainly something that we are going to invest in as well, connecting those in the next coming weeks and months. Next slide, please. Okay, now this would be the moment that maybe I stop talking, and I think nobody can advocate better for the importance of geoparks and the development of geoparks than countries themselves. There are a number of countries that we had really wish to invite, because we have been able to work very closely together. We have been able to count on your support. It's not only a financial support, but it's also a little bit of a spiritual and a technical support, I would say. So if I may invite to the floor, I don't know, I'm addressing in particular the permanent delegation of Italy and the permanent delegation of Portugal. Would you like to come to the floor and explain here, or you would like to stay seated? How do you see it? The floor is yours, please use it. Up to you. Italy? Rosa, yeah.
Thank you. I think I'd rather stay where I am. It's not a great day, but at least I have a window next to me, if you don't mind. And I'd like to make a few reflections, as you already invited us to do. I would mention in particular the impact of geopark initiatives, also drawing on our national experience. And I would like to start by highlighting how geoparks can play a meaningful role in the strategies contributing to the sustainable development agenda, which is an important aspect. Firstly, and just like other UNESCO designated sites, such as the World Heritage Sites and Biosphere Reserves, the UNESCO label greatly enhances the visibility of geoparks, contributing to the promotion of economic and social cohesion, cultural and geological diversity, as well as biodiversity, education, and awareness raising. Moreover, geoparks foster collaboration amongst various stakeholders, including local communities, scientists, academia, private sector, civil society, and policymakers, which is very important. By working together, they develop strategies for sustainable land use, resource management, and community empowerment, among other things. This collaborative approach ensures that the positive impact of geoparks extend beyond their immediate boundaries, thus benefiting the wider region. Additionally, UNESCO Geoparks Network serves as a driving force for international cooperation and capacity building, further enhancing collaboration on a global scale. Portugal has acknowledged for a long time the significance of geoparks, and together with other like-minded member states at UNESCO, played a part in the inclusion of geoparks in the UNESCO structure by a decision of the General Conference in 2015, creating the IGGP then. With the strong support through the initiative of the scientific community, my country also played a role, together with a certain number of other firm supporters, in the establishment of the International Geodiversity Day, adopted by the 41st General Conference in 2021, and which is celebrated on October 6. The first Portuguese geopark, called Nato Tejo, will celebrate its 20th anniversary in 2024. Since 2004, since 2004, 4 new geoparks, Portuguese geoparks, have been created: Aroca, Azores, Terra de Cavaleiros at Estrela, and a new geopark called West will soon join them. Also at national level, the Utah University in northeastern Portugal created the first UNESCO chair in geoparks, called Regional Development and Healthy Lifestyles, on the motto, and I quote, that UNESCO global geoparks are considered territories of education, science, and culture in the 21st century. I'd also like to provide some examples of the benefits brought by the inscription in the UNESCO Global Geopark Network of Portuguese territories with exceptional geological heritage. It made possible the unlocking of territories, mostly rural areas with very moderate economic development, through the creation of new partnerships and twinings with cities and geoparks in other countries, creating also new tourism offerings and opportunities for enhancement through international recognition awards. For example, the award Geopark has received 3 tourist Oscars since 2016 for Best Tourism Development Project in Europe, for Europe's Best Adventure Tourism Attraction, and for Best Adventure Tourism Attraction in the world. A study on the value of money for the Aroca Geopark identified a contribution of about 20 million euros to the local economy, with a significant portion of this value being reinvested in the region and in its infrastructures and services. That is why we are pleased to offer our support to the Geopark program through voluntary contributions, thus enabling the Secretariat to implement very useful initiatives, namely in capacity building, an example of which was the recent session on geoheritage management in UNESCO designated sites, organized in 2023 in the Azores Geopark, bringing together participants and experts from 15 different countries. By bridging local efforts with international challenges and acknowledging the importance of local culture in achieving global sustainability, UNESCO Global Geoparks can be seen, and they are indeed, a best practice of sustainability. My last reference is to the upcoming 10th anniversary of the IGGP. An appropriate celebration next year could be just another opportunity to focus our attention on the importance of geoscience, geodiversity, and Geoparks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you very much for that support, and thank you as well for the guidance, as you mentioned, in the International Geodiversity Day, the way we can link the geosciences with the geoparks. That's very much appreciated. And also, it was thanks to you that we could actually start working together across UNESCO site denominations, and that's certainly something that we will do further in the next years. I think there is a lot that we can learn from each other. There's a lot of challenges that we have across UNESCO sites. So thank you very much for that, and good luck with OSHTE next week. Now, I'm pleased to invite the delegation of Italy, a long-standing partner. It's also a country with a lot of geoparks, but we've also been able to rely on your expertise in order to expand the concept, to promote the concept, and to expand the network. Thank you very much. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Christoph, and thanks also to Özlem for organizing this inspiring meeting and for giving me the floor. I would like to thank also the colleagues from the Geoscience Council for the very interesting presentation. And of course, I have to stress the importance that geosciences and geoparks have in Italy, because not only the number, but also the quality and the effort we have deployed in the last years in the geoparks is a key aspect in our participation to this organization. I would like to share a good case study that is the multi-designated Cilento Park. Is a very interesting area in the south of Italy, in Campania. We organized actually a meeting here at UNESCO one month ago. And the idea of this area is to combine 4 elements of UNESCO for designation, because at the same time, this area is a geopark, but is also a biosphere reserve, and also include World Heritage Site and an intangible element that is the Mediterranean diet. So what we have done with this park, with this national park, is to start a reflection on an integrated management plan. So the idea was to bring together all these elements and start a reflection on how to manage it in a better way. And so a really interesting process started, and actually we presented, the park presented the management plan to the UNESCO. And I think that is an idea also for other areas with these characteristics, with these features, to work together in the future. Also, I would like to share a practical opportunity for all of you, that is the Earth Network. To all of you, because actually the Earth Network is an initiative that is born in the context of the Manned Biosphere Program, but it perfectly fits what we are talking about today, because it refers to experts. The first objective is to establish a cluster, a network of experts in geosciences and biodiversity. And actually the concrete action is to bring capacity building and expertise to the UNESCO sites, to the geoparks, to the biosphere reserves. So have a look at the website of the Earth Network, because the program is still opened. There is a really important funding by the government of Italy, and this is the last year to participate in the program. So this is a call to all of you to participate both as experts or as a member state that can be beneficiaries of the program. The last element I want to share is actually a key priority of the G7 presidency of Italy. I was really happy to listen to the presentation of the ENI project earlier today, because actually it perfectly fits with the Piano Mattei, that is a key priority of our foreign policy at the moment. and is also part of the priority Africa that is not only a priority for UNESCO, but also a priority for the G7 presidency this year. What is Piano Mattei? Mattei Plan. Mattei was the founder of the ENI, and the Mattei Plan is actually a plan to work together with Africa, with the African countries on a peer-to-peer perspective to actually deal with the global challenges. And I think that the geosciences and also protection, geoparks, is a global challenge because we're not talking about something beautiful, but about something that is very useful for our future. So we have already proposed an idea that was to share our know-how with the African member states in order to establish new World Heritage sites. But still, in the case of geoparks, we offer the same help for Africa with the Earth Network, because we already have the instrument. And since the G7 is this year and the Earth Network is unfortunately finishing this year, this could be a very interesting idea for some African partners to take advantage of this project to establish new geoparks in Africa. We've seen that there are only 2, if I'm not wrong. So that could be a really good occasion to establish new geoparks in Africa. So that was a bit of a few ideas, but I've tried to be concrete. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is really excellent. I think, yes, with the meeting that we had with Cilento, it's an excellent example of how you combine all these different designations. It's a challenge. I mean, it's a blessing, but it's a challenge as well, because how do you promote the differences, the biodiversity, the geodiversity, the cultural aspects? How do you brand them differently and at the same time show the coherence between that? We will, by the way, we will provide feedback as well on the report that we have received, and we intend to use it as well for other sites. Regarding the Earth Network, you will hear later from Özlem as well how we have used this opportunity. There's a site, for example, in Cuba, but there's also Tanzania, where we have been able to send experts to help them. And we were very happy that actually the program was opened up not only to existing sites, but also to project sites. And so this has certainly helped us to move these projects forward. We will brief you on that later. And then happy to see as well that we can make the link here with what has been said this afternoon and the G7. So more than happy to follow up on that. If you allow me, I would like to briefly give the floor as well. Husam, I don't know if you want to say something on behalf of Saudi Arabia, which is for us uncharted territory. But
yeah, I will make it short. Thank you, Christo. Thank you, Özlem, for giving me this opportunity. Actually, I stand before you today with a heart full of joy and pride. We gather together here as not only as a colleague, but as a family. As most of you know, today is the beginning of the holy month, the Ramadan, and a time traditionally is a family time. But I found myself here surrounding with the warmth and support with the wonderful this Geopark family. So I feel proud and to be part of this family and contributing with them to support and promotion this unique idea with Geopark itself. And I will shortly light how this succeed in Saudi Arabia after what you mentioned already. We following with a guide you gave it to us and attending a lot of course and event and with Geopark event. I believe there is a 2 strong point in Saudi Arabia that we are following. Firstly, is it's a combination of collective, effective internal initiative or for the authorities in Saudi Arabia itself. Each authority like Saudi Geological Survey, Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Environment, they did a great efforts and present for the development and environment, education, tourism for decades. What we did in NCBC, which is a new center under the environment of Ministry of Environment 3 years ago, which with the mandate of the Geopark, that we collect this effort together and uniting them under the umbrella of the Geopark. By working together, we show the concept of the Geopark, and after engaging the local community in the kingdom, we get succeed to establish a 10 national geopark in the national level, and with this offers we show the fairest submission in the UNESCO Global Geopark, and we hope by the end of this year we finish the evaluation. And the second reason of the success it lies on our visionary leadership that guide us in Saudi Arabia. Our leadership is a mission of comprehensive vision in the geopark, which is the same with the geopark idea. In his word, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, during his announcement with the landmark of mega project in the kingdom like Neom and the Line, he said, why we accept to sacrifice our nature in the seeking of the development. This word affect deeply understand of appreciating of the importance of natural. With this perspective, it's the only natural for the kingdom to take the lead of the field in Geopark, aligning the action with the commitment for preserving our nature. I believe that with the coming days, the kingdom will help their partner, their neighbor countries to achieve this noble goal with the Geopark. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that testimony. I think indeed the potential in the country is enormous, and I hope we manage to create the first geopark in the country. And I'm absolutely sure that it could indeed inspire other initiatives in the region. So thank you very much for that. I think the concept of this afternoon doesn't allow to give credit to everyone here, because we are, of course, supported by a large number of member states. I thought that I saw as well Chile. Chile has stepped up to organize the international conference, the next one in 2025, the International Conference for UNESCO Global Geoparks. I wish to thank here as well Vietnam for hosting the Asia Pacific Geoparks Network meeting in September and the next council meeting. So thank you very much for that as well. We always say that networking is important, but it requires somebody to step up and say, you can do it, you can come to my place. So thank you very much for that. I think with the next part, we can, yeah, maybe if you want to say a few words, Madam Ambassador, I don't know if this is an opportunity.
Merci de me donner. Thank you for handing me the floor. First, I should like to thank the section on Earth and Earth Sciences for the expertise. We are not, I myself am not an expert on this area. Our experience shows challenges as well as opportunities for creation of an establishment and protection of geoparks. Challenges, well, we are faced with the difficulties that have to do with the strengthening and the harmonization of legal frameworks, protection, preservation of geoparks. Challenges also that have to do with climate change and awareness of local populations in order to strengthen their participation and expand their participation to preservation and promotion of heritage-related values, and participate in preventing them from acting against these sites in an unconscious manner. And regarding the opportunities, it's true that global geoparks are a source of pride in the local communities and the region as well. New sources of revenues are also generated thanks to geotourism,
while participating in protecting the geological resources of the region. Now, the concept of global geoparks is not yet very widespread in Vietnam. It still remains a sustainable development model, specifically on all areas, social, cultural, economic, environmental, and this can really attract tourists.
Et d'ailleurs, quand tu vois les commentaires des gens qui réagissent,
And
tous
local
disent la
grants
qualité du son. Donc ça, la
as
carte.
well. So this is why in the past few years, the local authorities in Vietnam that have geoparks have concentrated their resources and undertaken a lot of initiatives to preserve, restore, and promote the geoheritage. And it also participates in developing tourism and for economic development. UNESCO Global Geoparks are not just about cooperating with local communities that live in the area of the geoparks. It's also an opportunity to collaborate with other global geoparks in the area, in the world also, in order to learn from one another, to exchange and share experiences and sharing values of geoparks, and in order to expand as well our understanding of other communities. And as you have said, in that spirit, Vietnam will be hosting the 8th meeting of the networks of the Asia-Pacific Geoparks in September of this year. We are expecting 800 to 1,000 international participants, representatives of geoparks, not only in our region, but also worldwide, scientific experts, scientists, managers of geoparks, etc. It's the first symposium that's fully in person after COVID. And we will do our utmost to make this symposium successful, and as well as all the side events that will take place. And we count on your support and your participation. Please come to this symposium to share your ideas, your knowledge, your know-how, your experience, so that together we can reach the objectives of UNESCO Global Geoparks. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Ambassador. We will definitely have an opportunity in the coming weeks and months to work and cooperate. Thank you very much.
Move to
So we solved the procedure, we solved the challenges, we solved the issues, and we solved newcomers. So how do we get there? I think this is the point at UNESCO. Christophe explained the process, long, heavy. But before the process, there is the preparation stage, and the preparation stage also, we try to help member states. I see lots of member states here with their nameplates who do not have geoparks. And this is actually our real motivation to bring these new countries. So what do we do on this topic? I will show you, and then you can see, you can disseminate, and you can bring. So on the left side, you saw Christophe explained Secretariat's role on coordination of evaluation, revalidation, council meeting, and results. So the left side takes really high part of our time. I think our team is here, Rania, Malcolm, and Uni, Catherine, Christophe, myself. The administrative part as secretarial role, this is what we do. This is our role at UNESCO. But as we would like to bring more countries, we focus also the right part. And the right side is actually the training aspects, which I would like to very briefly explain what we have done. And then you can help us to do similar, better, and more hopefully in other countries. So one of the trainings, we have two focuses. Number one priority is Africa. We talked about that. We have only 2 countries. And all these trainings you see, they are in collaboration. So as Professor Satish explained, we do wonders, but we can't do wonders alone. We do with you, with the partners. For that, we have partners. For the Global Geoparks Network increase, our main partner is Global Geoparks Network. They provide free expertise. So these experts, they come and they help us freely, their time. And then we have Earth Network from Italy, which is, again, helping experts we find, and they help us their travel and accommodation to help Tanzanian, Kenyan geoparks, or bring in African voltage sites or biosphere reserves to learn about geoparks. So Earth Network and my dear ambassador from Portugal, explain. So we have also voluntary contribution, financial contribution coming to us along with expertise. So thanks to this financial contribution, we organize courses in Azores Island, we organize in Namibia along with the CAG, and we organized also the Kenya, as we already mentioned, with Flemish funds. And then we have other partners, so I'm really happy to see him here. He's one of my guru in Africa. I learned a lot from him. We have PanAfGeo. So PanAfGeo is European Geological Surveys getting together, all European Geological Survey staff to train African Geological Survey staff. So that sounds, what is the connection about Geoparks? They have several themes, from mapping, which we do as geologists, data analysis, or geohazards, but they created a new frontiers they called geoheritage and geothermal energy. And we associated with them. So he's my leader in the geoheritage topic. So we deal with 2 training courses in Africa. One is in Congo, Republic of Congo, another one is in Angola, where they brought French-speaking and Portuguese-speaking countries, and we at UNESCO, with our connections and networks, the countries speaking these languages, having Geoparks projects, we brought them this course. Because what we understood after several years is that countries lacking Geoparks because they do not have established in detail geoheritage inventories. In Europe, many countries started this inventory process, like France, Spain, Germany, Portugal. There are books, there are inventories available even online, but we don't have this everywhere. So PanAfGeo aims to develop this understanding of geoheritage concept and training geological survey staff so that that virus of geoheritage also can spread and they can do their mappings. So we work with them for last 2 courses, and our last course will be in Botswana in April. And Tanzanian, South African, and Ghanaian geologists under the sponsorship of UNESCO will travel to Botswana and will be exposed to geoheritage inventory concept. So I don't know if and one of the bottom one is our course in Kenya, where we brought several African countries in Baringo County to understand geoheritage concepts. So, and one on the top right, bottom right is the Zonguldak. It's an aspiring geopark in Turkey. And Turkish National Commission brought Central Asian and Arab states representatives, National Commission representatives, to showcase their early coming geopark. So it's an aspiring geopark project, but where we had Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Egypt, Jordan participants coming and seeing that project. Again, this was organized thanks to National Commission and their contribution. So they organize, they plan everything, and our GGN experts came and trained, explained the exchanges. So we work with national commissions, we work with member states, and we work with Eurogeo surveys and different partners. So as you can see, we reached more than 250. So I'm quite proud. Last 2 years, I was in trainings face-to-face with more than 250 people on these topics. And this is another project we will start now. Actually, it's online in our website. We did this in 2019 for the first time. That was very successful. We brought aspiring geopark projects in the countries where there are only one geopark or there's no geopark, but they are keen to have their geopark project. And then we launched another call, established geoparks who are running for 8, 10, 20 years already, and they can host these geoparks. And we cover all the financial expenses in collaboration with the host geoparks. So Portugal hosted, Spain hosted in this time, and Greece hosted. So we had 11 geoparks going to 9 geoparks. So we will launch again that call. If you have aspiring project and if your managers want to receive training, we will make that arrangements. And this year they will be trained by geopark experts in geoparks. So not only geoheritage point, but it's advanced stage. And then we mentioned already, we also do experts missions. So this has just happened a couple of weeks ago in Gorongoro Geopark. GGN experts in collaboration with Earth Networks and other collaboration, they went to this area. The lady you see in the middle is the manager of Azores Geopark, actually. This is another beautiful story of networking. We organized that course in Azores Island, Ngorongoro Geopark representative and Azores Geopark representative got connected, and then thanks to the Earth Network funding, the manager of Azores Geopark went in Ngorongoro and spent 1 week. So this is the networking we were talking about earlier. GGN and Geoparks experts are always ready to come your sites and help you for next steps. And that's another one. Within the GGN grants, we will organize an expert mission to Aspiring Geopark, just submitted by Morocco last as of intergovernmental check. And 2 experts will go and help these geoparks early stage before the evaluation mission for their preparation. And this is a video, I don't know if it will work.
Hello, my name is Gary Lee. I'm a geologist at the Pacific community based in Fiji. I'm going to briefly talk about some of the work that we've been doing over the last couple of years, looking at establishing the first geoparks in the Pacific region. Because tourists typically think of the region as sun, sand, and sea, sitting on the beach under a palm tree, having a cocktail, which is an important staple for the region, but the region has a lot more to offer than that in terms of natural heritage and cultural heritage. And they need to look at strategies to really celebrate that heritage. So we thought, wow, geoparks really could be an important tool to
And this was an example of video which we will put on our website. It's our collaboration with Fiji and South Pacific community. And this is Gary Lee. He's a geologist. He worked for South Pacific community. He discovered geopark concept, and in collaboration with the South Pacific community and the support of New Zealand and Australia, they developed a feasibility study for the impact and importance of geoparks in SEEDS and Pacific region, which we would like to share with you, but we will make that video available on our website. I think that's all from us today, and thanks for listening. And I will give the floor to Christoph for next and final points.
Thank you, Özlem. We interrupted the presentation a bit soon. But there's another event that I would like to highlight here, and it's the intensive course. The intensive course is really a milestone event, and many of the people who have worked on a geopark or who are managing a geopark went through this course. It's a course that's set up in Lesbos Island, UNESCO Global Geopark in Greece. It was organized online for a couple of years due to COVID, but this year it's going to be held in presence again, end of May until, well, 27th of May until beginning of June. We will place it on our website as well. If you want to hear or know more about it, please consult as well the GGN website or contact me, and we can provide more information about it. Now, before I invite you up to the 7th floor, there was one little surprise that we have kept for the end, maybe. So this is the book. This is the famous UNESCO Global Geoparks book. We have been working on this for quite a while. The idea was just to raise the profile, to reach out to a public that is not necessarily familiar with geoparks. We have got a lot of support from all the existing geoparks. They provided us with photo material, with text material. It was actually Portuguese Sergio Esperancinha who wrote the edition. We have been able to publish this thanks to Gestalten Publishing House in Germany. It features 195 geoparks. Of course, the shelf life is limited because there's always new geoparks coming in. But it's what they call a coffee table book. It's really something that I would like to present to all the permanent delegations. We will send a copy as well to each of the UNESCO Global Geoparks. So if you are here from a delegation, we will make sure you can pick up your free copy. They can be found as well at UNESCO store. They are also available online if you think that this is a present, but you will see there are fantastic pictures. They explain geoparks from a bit of a different angle, maybe, as I said, to a public that is not necessarily familiar. It's maybe less scientific and a little bit more glamorous, but it is important as well that we reach a different public with this as well. So that's what I would like to say about the book. And with this, as I said, please, I don't know, Catherine, where people can pick up the book. Be here. Okay. At the moment that we end this session. But actually, we are very much at the end of the session. So yeah, that I said. All right. They can pick it up right now? All right. Okay. Then what else is remaining here? If there is any questions, maybe we still have a couple of minutes. Yes, this would be the moment.
Yeah, I have a question on the duration of the periods between the revalidations of the geoparks. I mean, if for an outsider, it seems to be a little bit short. And if you compare these with the several times mentioned bioreserves, there it is 10 years. So there's, in my opinion, a kind of a mismatch. And at least it should be rethink to extend this periods at least to 5 years. That's just a suggestion.
That's a suggestion. It's a very valid suggestion. It's certainly a topic that we discuss. It would make people's life probably a little bit easier. I think there's reasons why it was set on 4 years. We've had several discussions with the geoparks themselves as well, and with GGN and with the regional bodies. I think it is important to have a regular review of sites. I don't think 10 years is a good example either. It's really a long time. Between 10 years, a lot can happen, and we see that biosphere reserves have sometimes trouble in keeping up the rhythm. With geoparks, we see that there is a steady increase. They're progressing. Every 4 years, they're getting better. We see it as well, and it's rare that we see a geopark falling back and up and falling back. So there is a steady progress. The 4 years certainly help to keep the rhythm high. Would it make sense to say, for example, the first revalidation is after 4 years and subsequent ones is every 6 years? It could be a suggestion. It's actually not up to me as a secretariat here. I think the statutes with that written, with that proposal were made by the member states. If member states would have a different opinion about it, it's up to them to suggest this. As I said, from a work perspective, we were 120 geoparks back then. Every 4 years, it was manageable. We're now 213, it becomes less and less manageable. So if we project the steady increase, let's say every year, 18 to 20 more, then every 4 years, organizing a revalidation. Right now we have 176 evaluators. We're asking quite a lot of these evaluators. Some of them are conducting 5 missions in a summer, and they do this, as I said, on a voluntary basis, just to keep up with the rhythm. Yes, I take note of it, and to a certain extent I share it.
Again, it's a very nice idea of Geopark, and I'm really impressed what he had done over the years. I had 2 points to make. One is education aspect of Geopark. The reason why we want to keep Geopark not just a heritage, because they are very much part of our learning process. I did not see much interaction with the local universities and the role of geology or education in the whole program. Maybe it will be worth bringing in that increase the more participation of the local science community, universities and young people in the Geopark. That's the first point. Second point, which I want to make, is that it is very much voluntarily based. It means you are promoting people. But we all know as a geoscientist, there are a lot of excellent natural geological sites on the planet. And we are having meeting this year in Korea. Maybe a geological congress could invite national countries to promote them, to bring out those specific areas which are already on the global map of geology. So it might be worth thinking about using the geological congress, expanding to the top level geological sites on the planet, which everyone wants to go and visit them. That's an idea.
Thank you very much. I think 2 very valid points. When it comes to education, it's something that is extremely important within a geopark, and the evaluators will look closely to it. They will go to schools, they will go to the university. see to what extent they are working with universities, how they're involving their researchers, how they can actually translate, interpret the material from the research to the public, to the people living in the geopark. It's not only to the tourists, but really to the people living in the geopark. They work a lot. There's a lot of activities with schools. Maybe Martina can say something about it as well, but there's really, depending a bit on the country, I would say, but there's a lot of activities happening within the geopark. It is a very important aspect. Now, from our side, we also think, how can we help geoparks with different perspectives, how to integrate climate change, for example, in the curriculum, how to explain, as we have said here, energy transition as well. Our geoparks are really fantastic places to pilot certain projects. So together with the colleagues of Education for Sustainable Development, the education sector, we're thinking about how to provide tools that would be useful, not just for geoparks, but also for biosphere reserves and our sites. So that's certainly something that is very high on our radar. When it comes to the Congress, absolutely right. It is a superb opportunity to promote geoheritage in general and geoparks in particular. We're an area where there are a lot of geoparks, but there are a lot of countries that don't have geoparks yet, so we intend to invite them. Nicolas can maybe say as well, there is an event already scheduled. We are also going to be there. We will promote the geoheritage. There will be certain events where we try to highlight the geoparks and connect us with the actual Congress. Yeah.
So in that topic, we didn't mention because we had 43 projects and we couldn't mention all of them. And one of our star project is in collaboration with IUGS Geoheritage Commission. And that project is called 100 Geoheritage Sites. So the first cycle we did 2 years ago, and now they are preparing second 200. So there will be a session explaining how they defined first 100 geosites involved. So these 100 sites cover global geoparks, natural heritage sites, and biosphere reserves. And the beauty of that project was developed under IGCP, and there is a methodology on that. So as IUGS sites, IUGS selection for geoparks, and in that part, we have very famous Giant's Causeway and Yosemite, you can imagine, but their geological uniqueness. So there will be long sessions in Busan, and the experts will explain how they selected these sites and what is the methodology. And our real aim is that we don't get, again, applications from Africa and Latin America, how we can spread that methodology and they can do more applications. So yes, in Busan, there will be big discussions about geoparks, but I think IUGS geoheritage sites will also be on the topic. Thank you. Martina.
Thank you. Just reaction on cooperation with the I'm not sure if you told Martina. It's okay. Yeah.
I said too quickly.
Yeah, reaction on cooperation with universities. I think as I am also evaluator and revalidator, so visiting many geoparks on the globe, and you can see normally how intensive the geoparks cooperate with universities, and in each geopark nearly you have at least one university cooperating. And for example, also in our country, we have a national level of geoparks as well. And in National Committee of Geoparks, we have two most, let's say, perfect universities in Czech Republic, Charles and Masaryk University involved, and also Academy of Science, of course, Geological Institute, and also even national geoparks are cooperating in Academy of Science of Czech Republic. So it's quite visibly that you can separate geosciences and geoparks, and not only geosciences. As you know, it is multidisciplinary, so we are involving all the other sciences like anthropology, sociology, etc. So I think this is really a happy marriage, geosciences and geoparks. Thank you.
Thanks, Martina. Patrick, I don't know.
No, just a brief question that has been a little bit answered by yourself. My question was, you clearly mentioned that geoparks are not national parks, of course, and UNESCO provide the official label of a geopark at international level. But I guess, of course, managing a geopark requires funding maintenance. It's not a purely volunteer-based functioning, I guess. So as far as I understand from your reply, national contributions comes into managing the geopark. So my question was, which is the proportion of national financial support and the UNESCO support for Geopark?
For Geopark management, UNESCO doesn't have any support. So that's clear. UNESCO provides the label, like financial contribution is not there. So UNESCO label is given by UNESCO experts, same as World Heritage and same as Biosphere Reserves. So UNESCO labels, UNESCO helps for the establishment with the trainings, with the and UNESCO helps for the organization of council. And then how they survive, how these, and this is what I try to say, the management body is critical. National parks, natural parks are managed by the governments. It's crystal clear. You have civil servants or local government representatives. Geoparks are, as Satish said, I love that word, they are wonders. So they don't have any funding actually from governments. And this is one of the areas we would like to work with them, because biosphere reserves and World Heritage sites get funding from government because they are in the constitutions of many countries, whereas geoparks are not. So geoparks are people like Martina, people like my colleagues from Belgium, Luxembourg here, voluntary, sometimes geographers, sometimes geologists, mobilizing local areas, creating local business, getting some support from government, but in many countries, they are not government. In UK, they will not get any funding from government. In France, they may have some overlap and national park stuff can help geoparks. So every country have their different model. And that's the beauty for us, I think, because it's different from even in Europe, Germany, Austria, and France, they have different structures, but they have independent management bodies. And they are like cooperatives, like NGOs, but they are not totally governmental. That's right. Thank you.
I think that's where the universities will come into picture, because they are kind of independent. And they could be your leader, providing the leadership, scientific as well as support to the geoparks. Thank you.
Right. Selby?
I think we can take another question, but actually our interpreters say that for them the time is over. So if there's a next question, it's got to be without interpretation, if I understand it well. Let me thank them here already for their support, for their help. If there is any other question? No. Otherwise, maybe we can chat as well over a drink. Let me thank here as well Serge from Belgium. I see that Alain went already up. There is also Birgit from Luxembourg. As I said, they came with local products. To give it a little bit more of a practical, a tangible touch, please reach out to them as well. Please follow us to the 7th floor for a little drink. And don't forget, if you're from a permanent delegation, don't forget to pick up a copy of your book as well. Thank you very much again.